I told you I would never pick you over Spawn. I make more than double what you did, even when you were working. This is not a brag, this is a warning. I will support any legal action taken against you by the people I've been protecting, whether it's with testimony, evidence, or money. Try something like this and you'll understand just how nice I've been. Just how nice I'm still being. I love you, but if you come after your kid, I will make sure that that particular path of self-immolation will lead to your destruction. This is the last warning I will give. You now have an inkling of what I'm capable of when pushed. Back the fuck off. You have no idea what you're actually getting into. Melina! All right, a third Google document has struck the poppy. You guys, a third Google Doc has struck the poppy. There we go. Perfect. Look at how cute. We love him. Okay. Let us begin. This is the third Google document that has struck the poppy. Okay. So, the title of this isn't polyamory, it is poppyamory. Based and true. We know this to be true. Oh, just kidding. Haha, sorry. This is the one that we want. This is the ace phobia one. Sorry. Let's try that one more time. My bad, guys. Hang on. My bad. Okay, this is the third Google document. Okay. Content warning. Of course, we're talking about rape, sexual assault, flashing, cringe, all of the other isms, phobias, whatever you can think of, because boy, oh boy, it always gets worse. Legal purposes, everything in this document is an allegation. We're providing enough evidence for most to make what we consider a compelling argument. Okay, so after all, their MO has been to justify their actions in a way that doesn't actually justify it. So, quote, don't worry, it gets worse. This is a motto that we've adopted within our group, a bit of gallows humor that remind us and new people in ourselves to calm down as we learn new things. Don't worry, because if you let yourself get too caught up in it, you're going to have trouble continuing as it, quote, gets worse. Consider this a reiteration of the content warning above. Don't feel obligated, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So yes, something that is very true with all of the reading that I have done on this is every single time that I read something and I'm like, wow, that's actually the worst thing I've ever heard in my entire life. The next thing that I learn is actually worse than the previous thing. So that will be a continual thing, okay? Please do not harass or otherwise contact anybody mentioned in this document unless they themselves specifically say they want to discuss their perspective. Also, remember that a lot of them have changed their stance on Poppy since these screenshots were taken. Specifically, while we were aware of Sage's involvement in these situations and posts that she's made online, we are deliberately keeping her inclusion minimal. She has empathetically expressed wanting everyone to leave her alone, so we won't be including won't be including any of her or her headmate Ceresa's longer posts, even though they offer plenty to comment on. We ask that everybody else respects her wishes. Personally, in my opinion, if you want to throw your hat in the ring, I feel like you don't get to just say, I don't want to be involved when you're somebody who is consistently defending Poppy publicly. That's fine. Whatever. That's just my opinion. Okay, so what is this doc? This is Melina's document. So we're a little bit spicier than we remember. Base Melina, let's go. Okay, so the subjects are as follows. 1, a brief introduction to Poppy and Xena. 2, Noi Flake. 3, Dormu. 4, Poppy's concerning parasocial behavior. And 3, Spawn. So, who is Poppy and Xena? Why should we care? This is a really good question. If you're new to the subject, Poppy's channel started out as Trans Girl Therapist, TGT. I will call attention to everybody here that if we spell it like this, if we do Trans Girl Therapist, that's based. But if you look closely, there were warning signs all along Trans Girl the Rapist. She was giving us signs all along, you guys. All along there were signs. Okay. But that changed Xena and Poppy wholesome degenerates because Xena saw Poppy getting attention and felt left out. So rather than actually work on developing a personality or education. Damn, we're just going right for it, okay? They bully and abuse anyone who leaves them out under the excuse of how much it hurts them. This becomes especially bizarre when Xena seems upset about being left out of the abuse allegations, ? This is true. Xena is like, you guys, everybody is talking shit about Poppy. Why won't you guys talk shit about me? It's like, well, Queen, you should try speaking sometime. Or, excuse me, well, Monarch, you should try speaking sometime. You know what I mean? Like, maybe add something to to this segment. Ding Dong Football says, FYI, I've been doing some looking, and the spelling joke that you just made is a joke on the farm, so people might accuse you of being a farmer. Every piece of drama that I have found on this, every single piece of drama that I have found on this has been on Tumblr. Tumblr is Kiwi Farms for queer people, okay? The only thing that I have seen from Kiwi Farms is the clip where Poppy talks about finger banging that girl at the Renaissance Festival. That is the only thing, that is the only source that I have seen from the farms, okay?
I didn't know you weren't supposed to be drunk and finger a girl on the dance floor. Oops. No one told me the rules.
All of this is ethically sourced, you guys. All of this is ethically sourced. It's non-GMO, grass-fed, cage-free, free-range, ethically sourced tea, okay? Okay. Poppy is a licensed therapist who parades around her credentials to speak as an authority on mental health, including BPD, PTSD. She says that DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy, the most widely accepted toolkit for managing BPD, quote, doesn't work for her, countering instead the fact that she undergoes EMDR treatment, eye movement desensitization, and reprocessing therapy, even though it is meant for PTSD and not BPD. Something that Luxander mentioned the other day as well is that EMDR specifically exacerbates dissociative symptoms. So for somebody who claims to have DID, EMDR is like the opposite of what you would want to do, especially because, one, it doesn't help treat BPD. It doesn't really do anything for that. And then two, it exacerbates dissociative symptoms. So this is just like a tool that we just don't need when there is a better, shinier toolbox right in front of us that would help us meet our needs a little bit better. Something that Luxander also brought up that I think is important to mention is that a lot of the time when people say that certain kinds of therapies don't work for them, while there is a nugget of truth in this, that not everything is going to work for everybody, that is 100% true. Sometimes, and especially with people who are committed to being mentally ill, like Poppy, it doesn't work for me is just I'm not willing to commit to treatment. And a lot of DBT is kind of introspection, self-discovery, acknowledging reality, acknowledging your mistakes, and integrating that with the way that you feel about situations, and kind of finding a middle ground between like my emotional reactivity and actual reality. So it would make sense to me that that wouldn't work for Poppy, because she loves to live in Poppyland in pure delusion. So moving on. The channel and connected Discord community, currently called the Quote Foundation, are framed as a safe space for neurodivergent people, especially those who are queer and or live with BPD, pleural systems, and PTSD. It is not. Poppy and Xena are far from safe people. Continued thoughts. Instead of working to separate their initial reactions and feelings from the perceptions of situations, they fight to make versions of these events that transpired to match their emotions that they feel about them. Big issue. You know what really helps with that? DBT. They also feel that their aggressive, antagonistic, and frequently downright cruel behavior is justified as long as they feel personally wronged enough. So we're happy to go gloves off and be like fucking evil as long as it's somebody that we don't like. To co-opt a phrase that their friend Annie uses, you'll see, into a place that applies, quote, the cruelty is the point. We immediately recognize the textbook abuser tape. Yeah, I hit her, but she made me so angry that technically I didn't do anything wrong. So we've seen this like continually, that like you made me so upset that I'm going to act this way. Very, very manipulative, very abusive. You made me so mad that I had to cheat on you. Like you made me so upset that I had to go and find a girl at the bar to fuck. You just made me so mad. It wasn't my fault. You made me do it. Continuing on. The public side of this all started when PNZ dumped me in one of the most triggering demolitions of safety that I've ever experienced, and then weeks later decided to stream their grossly warped and inaccurate perception of our conflicts to their 9K plus subscribers, including my former friends within the foundation, instead of discussing the conflict with me. This is a pattern. Poppy uses her channel and her platform to process her feelings with her audience. Excuse me. This is parasocial. No matter what Poppy says or uses to justify it, she will try to come up with good reasons why she's an exception to how the word, quote, parasocial doesn't apply to her and her situation. This is a good example of how she'll twist reality and definitions to fit her emotions or perceptions of what she is allowed to do. I decided to post my side of the story in this document's predecessor last August, so... Okay. Since I published that document, I've spoken to over 24 people who have told me how deep Poppy and Xena have harmed them. For some of them, it was their first time feeling safe enough to talk about it. This includes 10 ex-partners / playmates. I hate that word. We're just going to say hoes. No, I'm just kidding. 10 ex-partners / hookups, and several more prospective ones who saw red flags and bailed before it got too deep. This includes a former member of the server who felt bullied by Poppy and Zena's oddly mean brand of humor until some kind of shocking aggressive outburst from one of them made them feel unsafe to be there. Includes former friends of years, includes their kid. Yes, I know how crazy that sounds, but hopefully as you read, you'll understand. These can be framed as simple disagreements, but when people frame themselves as a safe space for abusers, it feels extremely relevant and important to understand what these people see as abuse, especially their own actions. They've tried to frame me as a jilted ex for ages, but for me and the friends who fought alongside me, it's all about protecting people. It has always been and continues to be about protecting people. I will like to call attention to as well, yesterday, I posted this on Twitter. Where he be? Where he be? So yesterday this was posted. Poppy went a little bit cuckoo bananas and leaked all of the logs between her and Melina in an attempt to make Melina look absolutely fucking unhinged. Unfortunately, that backfired, and the only person that looks unhinged in any of these DMs is actually Poppy. So we got this gold little nugget here. Melina says, "You literally told her that if she didn't pick you over Amy, you'd kill yourself and that it would be her fault." And Poppy says, "Yes." So yeah. There's that. Anytime you think to yourself, wow, Poppy can't possibly think that this makes her look good. You're wrong. She does. This is probably a pretty clear instance of delusion, I would say. Okay, so let's get started. So we get started. We are going to get into the meat. Let's go to some TLDR context. So Poppy relationship and boundaries. This is a conversation that Poppy had with a potential, quote, playmate last October while including the whole conversation to include the full context of those interested. These parts are relevant. Okay, so we can read the whole conversation. Let's just read the relevant bits, you guys. So these are from Poppy. Poppy says, quote, "It is not a huge conversation. The short version is that it's really just that playmates kind of exist in a sort of fuck buddy or friends with benefits kind of place. I can't say that they're friends because I don't normally write smut with friends, but they're also not partners, so I don't tend to give them quite as much time. So you're literally just like a human fleshlight." Okay. Quote, "As for the relationships, I don't put them in a neat hierarchy. It's more just a way to describe different interactions. For example, I still might fly out my friends or one of my playmates, but the intention might be different than I would say for like a partner, or it might not be, depending on the situation. To me, these are the kinds of fluid. These are all very. I'm having like a stroke trying to fucking read this. I don't know. Just back into our. Okay, so then Poppy says, "Well, I like to have friends come out. I would like to get to know them more first." Poppy then says, "The channel is one of the ways that I make friends." Poppy then says, "It changes the dynamic when you actually do know the content creator because it's no longer parasocial. So because, I fly this person out and fuck them, it's not parasocial anymore. Once you do the fucking, once you guys fuck, it's no longer parasocial." Okay, based. Okay. So playmates, fuck buddies, and friends with benefits are in a similar realm because they're more friends but less partners, so they don't get as much time. Poppy likes to have friends come out and visit. Intentions during a visit with friends or playmates may be different than what it would look like a partner. Relationships are, quote, very fluid and can switch between roles. I mean, I think that this is only true of people that are porn-brained and always have sex on the mind. If you are my friend, I don't want to fuck you. If I want to fuck you, I don't want you to be my friend. Like, these are two separate categories. And of course, when those two categories kind of overlap into a Venn diagram, things get a little messy, get a little sloppy, as we've seen. But personally, like, I have friends that are my friends, and while they might be like attractive people or good-looking people, I don't want to fuck them. They're my friend. I don't understand that. Poppy makes friends through the channel. As she said before, those friends become more than friends, visit her potentially more than friends experience. Poppy believes that engaging in a parasocial with a parasocial fan and establishing a relationship eliminates the parasocial nature of that. Interesting. I love this, where it says those friends can become more than friends or visit her for a potential more than friends experience. I wonder what tier sub that is on Patreon. I wonder how much you pay for the, quote, more than friends experience. Okay. Now let's get to the BPD moments because this is a major component of Poppy's story. So Poppy on her BPD. Here's what Poppy publicly says she specializes in as recently as last month. So this is from last month. "Hi, clinician specializing in ADHD, BPD, DID, and OSDD, who is diagnosed with all three OSDD in my case." Poppy frames herself as an expert in a safe space for people with BPD, especially because she herself lives with it. But the way that Poppy talks about BPD is honestly horrifying. Poppy portrays it as untreatable barrage of endless suffering and triggers that is incredibly doom-reminded. So Poppy says, it always comes back to this, and what she's responding to says, quote, I often wonder who I would have been without my BPD, who it could have been without the emotional dysregulation, intrusive thoughts, anxiety, trauma, intense fear of abandonment, impulsivity, suicidal thoughts. Maybe I could have been someone worth loving. And Poppy is like agreeing with this. And then we have another example of how this is not uncommon. Noi knew this fully, having been sent dozens of articles on BPD. We had numerous conversations about the nature of BPD, despite her lying on her timeline and claiming she didn't know about it. Articles on favorite people, types of BPD, in fact, not to mention stuff about me. So, quickly, there's a few things. One, the doomer pill mentality is like such a toxic mentality that is prevalent in mental health spaces that are dominated by like Gen Z people and younger millennials, where, you know, you get diagnosed with something and you roll over and that's your life and you're going to suffer and your entire life is going to just be pain and suffering and nothing but, you know, despair. This is something that also plagues the trans community, where people think that, you know, being trans is suffering. If you don't do this, that, or the other thing, you're going to kill yourself. And I really hate that kind of mentality, because you're just convincing people that there is no way out, that their life is just going to suck for fucking ever. And that's not true at all. BPD is completely manageable. There are plenty of people that have or suffer with BPD, struggle with BPD, that are able to go into quote unquote remission because their symptoms and their triggers and their behavior is completely under control. They're able to manage it in an effective way. So one of the things that is really frustrating about BPD specifically, and in the context of Poppy and Xena, but this is a phenomenon that also affects other people, is that BPD is like the ultimate get out of jail free card, because you don't really take meds for BPD. You usually have to do like a fuck ton of therapy and shit like that to get your symptoms and your behaviors under control. So it serves as like a get out of jail free card, because it's like, it's not like I have schizophrenia and I can take antipsychotics and I'm good. It's like, you have to do the work. You can't just take a pill and it goes away. So this is the ultimate get out of jail free card for Poppy. And additionally, within the context of her dating somebody and letting the person know that you suffer from BPD, I think that that is like fair, right? So if you are getting into a relationship with someone and you're like, hey, just as a heads up, this is something that I struggle with, instead of just like bombarding them with articles about it and being like, this is what I'm going to do to you, just as a heads up, strap in. It would be more like, these are things that I struggle with. So if this is something that you could be like sensitive to, obviously it's my responsibility to control my reactions, my triggers, my behavior. That's my responsibility. But it would be cool if you could be mindful that these are things that I kind of struggle with, you know, the reactive attachment, getting really upset about people leaving or feeling like you're being abandoned. These are things that are kind of hard for me. So if you could just, you know, be mindful of that in our relationship, that's totally fair. But just bombarding somebody with articles and being like, these are all the ways that I'm going to abuse you, get ready, is probably not the vibe, okay? And the favorite person thing that Poppy continues to fall back on is something that is of Poppy's unique design. It's a colloquial term. It is not a clinical term by any stretch of the imagination. This is just something that she likes to use to say that, like, I love you so much that I would kill myself for you. That's like her clinical way of saying, you're way too beautiful, girl. That's, yeah. Moving on. In her eyes, it's not weird to send, quote, dozens of articles to someone about her mental illness as a prerequisite to their relationship. I bet there was a quiz about these articles as well. I bet she was like, after I'm going to send you a quiz, and you have to score 80% or higher if you want to date me. So this also lines up with the minimization of testimony as early as a couple of months ago. Okay, so Poppy and possessiveness. Let's go over what Poppy has told us about herself and how she views and approaches her own possessiveness. Okay, so I'm going to scroll very slowly here because I am afraid that furry boobs are just going to like jump out and attack me. And then I will be the real victim in this situation, okay? Poppy's desire to push possessiveness is something she has a right to, quote, explore, has been a thing for a long time. Please be censored. Okay, cool. Okay, so these are from 2022, and this is obviously sexy. The stars signify that there's sexy things going on under here, okay? So Poppy says, I'm pretty sure one aspect of me being in dom mode is the desire for possession of the other. While possessiveness is frowned upon in poly, some levels is expected with doms. But for me, it seems like that's potentially a center aspect of me when I switch to dom. Poppy then says, in vanilla sex, I can be okay with knowing that my partner has other partners as long as they are mindful when they are with me about me within the relationship. But in kink, I want my sub to be mine. If my kink is about exploring power and taboo, then why not possessiveness? So this reads like I'm imagining there's a guy somewhere out there in the world, and he works at 7-Eleven, and he kind of looks like Machine Gun Kelly, but with fetal alcohol syndrome. And he's like 35. And when he works at 7-Eleven and like all the, 16-year-old girls come in to get their Slurpees, he's like, yeah, you better, don't worry, kitten. Daddy's got your Slurpee covered. And his idea of being a dom is just like beating the shit out of them and like just being like, that was so good, babe. And then that's it. Like, that is what this reads to me as, where when I get in dom mode, you're mine. It like just, it's giving, you know what I mean? It just doesn't feel, it feels not good, okay? And I hate to be a feels over real guy, but it just feels not good, okay? Additionally, like if you are in polyamory, like the possessiveness and controlling aspect is like completely incompatible with polyamory. And this is something that Poppy talks about regularly, is that she knows that polyamory probably isn't a good choice for her, but she says, quote, I don't fucking care. So just right off the bat, we're like 2 screenshots into this section and I'm already like, ick. Okay, so Poppy discusses this on her stream. We have watched this clip many a times. If you desire to view this clip, please go and watch my video on it. I play it like in the first little segment of it. If you're interested, it's pretty cringe. So we have already watched this. Basically, Poppy just says, I want to do polyamory because I want unlimited hoes, but if you have hoes, I'm going to get upset. That's a TLDR, okay? So this is 9/23/23 new metamor. Metamor is the polyamorous term for your partner's partner. So if I was polyamorous, my wife would be my paramour. My wife's partner would be my metamor. So that is the partner, my partner's partner. Okay, so that's what a metamor is. So Poppy is very upset about the metamors because she's like, I'm sorry, but that is my Discord kitten. You're making mother very angry right now, is really what it is. Okay, so love finding out about a new metamor at 3 a.m. Then checking the likes. So Noe, the evil rapist Noe. Just kidding. Noe is not an evil rapist. Anybody who thinks that Noe is a rapist needs to find the nearest psychiatric institution and check themselves in. So Noe says, my precious blind son, he sleeps with me every night. And then Poppy says, I really shouldn't look through the likes. Why are you looking through the likes on Twitter? Very odd behavior. So she looks and she sees that it was liked by Amy, who is her metamor, by the way. Angry. XX, we hate. So Poppy interjects. So we've read this post before, so this is the TLDR. Amy posts, I like spiders, but I don't like them around me. Noe says, I will take them away from you. Amy says, oh my god, somebody has to do it. Noe says, I love spiders. And Amy says, I know, you're the reason that I made this post. I was thinking of you. And Noe says, I always come to mind, but good to know. And Amy says, I know, you're on my mind a lot. And then Poppy says, huh? And Amy says, oh, like, I think of her a lot. And Poppy says, no, I shouldn't interact with you. So this is an example of how Poppy will, like, I want to be very intentional with my language here. I'm going to be very clear. I'm going to be very concise. I'm going to be very clear with my statements here. Poppy rage baits herself. Poppy, like, triggers herself intentionally to start fights with people and then falls back and feigns like, oh no, I'm mentally ill, I'm triggered. That is a reoccurring pattern. So for anybody who is mentally ill, love you guys. You're doing great. I love and support my mentally ill kings and queens. You are responsible for managing your triggers, not the other way around. So here's an example. I was mauled by a pit bull. I hate pit bulls. I fucking hate pit bulls. I don't want to be around them. I don't want to pet them. I don't want them barking at me. If you have a pit bull, I'm like that's kind of sus. Obviously, not all pit bulls are bad, you guys. Not all pit bulls. However, that is something that I don't like because I like almost got fucking killed by this dog. So I just don't like it. I don't like pit bulls. However, that is my responsibility. Okay, so I'm not gonna go to like the pit bull pound and be like, I'm so triggered, you guys. Why do you have all these pit bulls here? You didn't even know that I was attacked by a dog. Like, that is mine to manage. Or if I have a friend who has a pit bull, I don't. But just hypothetically, if I had a friend that had a pit bull, I wouldn't be like, you better like put your dog fucking outside for like the 4 hours that I'm going to be here. I don't want to see your fucking dog. I would just try and work around it and be like, hey, do you want to go and like get drinks at a bar or something? Or do you want to come over to my place? Or could we go to like a mutual friend's house? I just don't want to, you know, be around your dog because it's something that bothers me. That would be totally fine. Instead, what Poppy does is I'm going on Twitter. I'm literally searching out triggering content to make myself upset. And then I'm going to fall back and be like, oh, I'm so mentally ill. Cater to me. Which is just Delulu behavior. Delulu behavior. Okay, Poppy then says, love getting a panic attack by running into a metamor. So this is quote-unquote running into a metamor. By the way, Poppy has Amy blocked. So Poppy literally, for people who don't do, if you go on Twitter and you have somebody blocked, say hypothetically I have Rowan blocked, and then let's say that somebody else quote retweets Rowan, it will show up on my timeline as the quote retweet, and then underneath it, it'll be like a big gray box, and it'll be like, this content is from somebody that you've blocked, and you can view it or you can choose not to view it. So Poppy isn't just like running into these people. Poppy is seeking these people out to get triggered by. She is intentionally upsetting herself. She is intentionally triggering herself and then fawning and playing victim. Poppy goes on to say, quote, I have a real trauma around interactions with metamors. Totally did not make my day better. I worked my ass off to fix the situation, and the other partner acts like a child. Bridge burned. If you have, like, trauma around metamors, maybe you shouldn't be in a polyamorous relationship. So Poppy competes with Amy. So this person is saying, I wish my tits were bigger. And Noi says, same. And Amy says, we'll work on it. And then Poppy says, already got it covered. Don't worry, I will handle the tits. I got it. Amy says, oh, I see no complaints. Poppy says, I assumed you wouldn't. I'm having mine sometime in May. I sent pics and let you see her work. She also did my vaginoplasty. That went swimmingly. If it helps being a therapist who does gender affirming care and having lots of resources, if I have my way, I'm going to get R Girl, FFS, BA, and SRS. And then she posts this horrible meme that I wish that I could, if I had a time machine, I would go back in time. I wouldn't stop Hitler. I wouldn't stop 9/11. I would stop myself from looking at this image here. It says, it's a big boba anime girl. And it says, if you take good care of you, I'll take good care of you, you troubled little kitten. Please, bro. So this is just weird to me. We're like doing the pink pill thing where it's like, wow, I'm going to make your boobies big. I'm going to blow dart you with estrogen to make your boobies biggie. Like, it's very weird. Okay. Poppy says, making my mate hotter one visit at a time. Amy says, what a coincidence. It seems it'll also impact my girlfriend. And then Poppy says, you're welcome. Poppy says, or Noe says, love you both. Amy says, love you too. And then Poppy says, all right, I'm head out with the SpongeBob meme. And then so context, Amy says, quote, I love you too, baby. Okay. And then Poppy says, well, baby is no longer a safe pet name for me. The most common pet name in the entire world is no longer a safe name because of one Twitter interaction. It's like, it's that meme where it's like, how do you people do fucking anything? How do you guys do anything? If I ever get like a real kitten, you know, like a cat, like the actual thing, I'm not going to call it a kitten. It's going to be small cat or gato. I'm never going to use the word kitten again. Never. And then so Amy says, love you too, baby. And then Poppy responds to it and says, I love you, Anne. And then she posts this cringe, like furry porn comic where it's like, mine. It's my precious trans kitten. My kitten. Very cringe. Very cringe. Okay, and then we have the dogs can only have one owner thing. I read this. This hurt me deeply. This person says, Puppy's going to get a cage soon. Poppy says, who's getting you a cage? And then this person says, blank's getting me one. And then Poppy says, dogs can only have one owner. And then this person says, well, that's not true. And Poppy says, that's absolutely true. I don't share. Then simply don't do polyamory. It's kind of the point. This person was not Poppy's partner at the time the thread was made. A couple of weeks later, Poppy announced that the two of them had started dating. Anyway, make sure you say happy birthday to me. And then, it's my birthday, bitches. And then Poppy says, ... We're so triggered because somebody's saying happy birthday. Love that for me. Love that for me. Okay. Don't worry, it gets worse. Haley, Noi Flake. Concerning behavior before the visit. So we have just scraped and scraped and scraped and scraped. I've read these Noi logs like 100 different times, okay? I have this committed to memory. So we're going to do a quick little synopsis of this. Quick overview, TLDR. This is a TLDR, okay? Noi and Poppy date electronically over Discord for 4 months. They have scheduled time for them to meet up in real life over Christmas. During this time, Noi's primary partner is Amy. Poppy says that she's going to kill herself if Noi does not break up with Amy. Noi, in turn, breaks up with Amy. So, before they go to meet up in real life, Poppy asks Noi, "What are you doing this morning?" And Noi says, "I'm having a date morning with Sora." And this triggers Poppy into a panic attack where she goes full ballistic, messages Noi like a bajillion fucking times. And at the end of this like long spiral downward, Poppy says, "I don't even know if I want to see you. Like, I think that this just fucked up the entire trip." To which Noi says, "Okay, don't come. I'm breaking up with you. I don't want to see you." Following that, Poppy and Xena both blow up this person's phone, like Moab level. Like, Noi's phone was ground zero at Hiroshima, and eventually convince Noi to come down and see them. They visit each other in real life. They engage in lewd, mischievous acts. Following the lewd, mischievous acts, Poppy comes to the realization that she was raped because following hooking up with Noi said, "I still don't want to date you." So the horrific and traumatic rape of Poppy was being broken up with by somebody who hooked up with them and then said, "You know what, guys? I don't really think that I want to date." So that is a TLDR. We will see if there is an additional context in here as well. I will continue to read, but we will continue to move on. Won't get into the full details of the relationship that led to the visit. That's already in the Poppy Emery docs, but it's important to understand what Poppy's approach to it was: unrestrained and unhinged. So this is 11/18/23. So mind you, they meet in real life in December. So this is like a month before they meet. Poppy says, "I wish when I express discomfort for something to one of my partners, they would hear it as insecurity, and it would assure me rather than stonewall me. I'm not trying to condemn anyone for posting lewds. I just don't want to be jump scared after a fight." Jump scare. Okay. Poppy says, "An ignored message, a slight change of voice tone, a blunt reply, all things that could have valid reasoning. One simple action sent us spiraling. We start to panic. Do they hate me? Have I done something wrong? Are they angry? A billion negative thoughts and questions flood in, creating anger, sadness, dwelling on a simple action until we cry and self-destruct. Our way of fixing it seems to be causing an argument, wanting to stop talking to our FP favorite person completely, and doing something drastic to get their attention back, i.e., I'm going to kill myself if you don't text me back right now." Poppy goes on to say there is no sign of them messaging us, so we sit frantically checking if they are active, checking every minute because this person is our life. No one else matters. After an hour of crying, wondering if they're going to leave, we get a reply, quote, "Sorry, my phone died." Imagine being Xena and reading this. This person is my life. Nothing else matters. I'll literally kill myself if this person doesn't text me back, and Xena's just sitting there like, "Hey, bud, I'm right here." Like, ooh. Also, again, DBT can help manage all of this stuff. There are ways that you can manage all of these behavioral reactions, all of this black and white thinking, the doom spiral, all this other shit. There is stuff that can help with this. Poppy just chooses not to do it. So, all right. November 26th, we say, "I can't meet the need of interacting with metamorphs, not online. Will I fuck this up so badly that my time in January with her won't come? This begs the question. If the visit had canceled, am I enduring this for nothing? There are moments when I am absolutely fine, and there are moments when I feel like dying. The anxiety gets so bad." It's like she just loves being miserable. She just loves the woe is me. Okay, the Christmas visit. So we get more extensive coverage of this in the Poppy Amory Document 1. I go over this in my video, The Dark Side of Xena and Poppy. The whole fucking thing. It is very long. It is very cringe. Your butthole will pucker. It is very difficult to read. I already gave the little TLDR. You know, Noe is an evil rapist because she didn't want to date Poppy, is essentially what it is. So please excuse my choppy editing. 5:40 to 13:30, ending where she says, quote, best Christmas ever. This is a stream that was on their channel. It was privated. It has been recently put back up. You're welcome to go and watch it if you want. It's basically just Poppy crying and treating her stream as a diary. So if you would like to subject yourself to that, you are free to. However, I have already done so and will not do again. Poppy says, in 48 hours, I'm going to be in a hotel with my fiance, Xena, and my mate at Noi Flake. I am so fucking excited. And this is on December 20th. On December 21st, Noi Flake dumps Poppy and blocks her. So Noe says, my friends, pizza strap. Well, I think there's a party happening here in response to Amy's tweet. Poppy says, you do know that when this loads, you can see who the person is briefly, even if we have each other mutually blocked. Like, again, we're looking for something to get mad about. What's up, Carolina? Poppy says, you do know... Oh, sorry, I already read that. So, and then, lost the girl I loved. Cry emoji. 12:22, P&Z hit the road. Trip is going well so far, about halfway there. Going to spend Christmas. So, again, what happens here in this little block, but in this little block of time here, is Noe and Poppy get into a huge fucking fight over... Noe having a date with her other partner that morning. They get in a huge fucking fight. Poppy goes ballistic, drops the nuke. If you're going to act like this, I don't even want to see you. Noe says, I'm breaking up with you. Don't come. I don't want to date you. I don't want to be with you. This isn't going to work. No, 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 no. And then Poppy and Xena blow up Noe's phone, convince her to come down after... It was about 8 consecutive hours of messages. Like, you can go and read it yourself if you would like to, or you can watch my coverage of it. I'm not kidding. It is like 8 hours of constant messages, and it's very obvious that this person is just not feeling it. So Noe is like, yeah, I'll come down and see you guys, like, fuck it, I'm tired of arguing about this or whatever. And Poppy will be like trying to like sext Noe, trying to like bait Noe, like, why don't you hate me, like, why are you giving me another chance? I'm just such an awful, evil domestic terrorist, like, why are you doing this? Like, do you still love me? Do you care about me? I want you to say that you love me and care about me. Say it. It's terrible. And so they meet up, hook up, because Noe said, you know, I don't want to fuck you. Or, like, I don't want to keep fucking you. I don't want to date you. I don't want to be in the polycule anymore. I broke up with you the other day. I still meant what I said. I still don't want to be with you. Poppy was like, rape! So, that's what happens. Okay. So, 12:23, it begins. It's over. She doesn't love me anymore. I'm stuck in the middle of nowhere in a hotel room right before Christmas to find out that she doesn't love me anymore. I just want to die. Every part of me hurts. I would have given her everything, but I guess I'm not enough. Poppy then says, I'm literally 6 minutes away from her house, and all she keeps telling me to do is go home. I'm exhausted. I have no food in me. I spent thousands of dollars on this girl. I drove 8 hours yesterday just to see her, and now I'm stuck here. This feels like hell. Poppy then tweets, who the fuck bangs somebody after their first SRS and then breaks up with them the next day? And this person says, holy fuck, that's awful. And Poppy says, yeah, it was my first time doing several things, and she knew how special it was, how much it meant to me, and all of it was a test for her to see if she loved me. So the test comment specifically refers to an instance that happened between Poppy and Noe and God. Those are the only people that were present for this. There are no logs for this, but the recounting that Noe tells, and I'm just going to be clear about my bias, I trust Noe more than I trust Poppy. I trust her recollection of events more. So Noe's recollection is that when it was time for Noe to leave, Noe was like, you know what, I was right. I don't want to date you. This isn't for me. Like, you know, tried it, didn't work out. I'm going to go. And Poppy, like, blocked the door, was, like, holding on to Noe, like, screaming, crying, shitting, pissing, coming, like, trying to get her to say, like, please don't break up. Like, I'll fucking do anything. And, like, reading all these messages, I can believe that, 100%. I'm not saying that Poppy was, like, violently, like, restraining Noe from leaving the room, but more in, like, a pathetic, desperate attempt to get them to stay or whatever. And according to Noe, Poppy asked, so this was just a test, you just wanted to fuck me to see if you still had feelings for me, to which Noe was like, okay, fine, like, yeah, I fucked you as a litmus test, whatever, can I please leave? And so Poppy clings to this little word that, again, is between Noe, Poppy, and the four walls that it was a litmus test to see if Noe still felt the same way about her. And in the context of rape, Poppy says that this was rape via deception because it was a test to see if Noe still felt the same way. So, I mean, again, I think that if in any conceptual bandwidth, you can concede that somebody was raped because their partner broke up with them after, they had sex, I would highly recommend a lobotomy or electroconvulsive therapy because, Jesus Christ, please stop. Okay. So even though Noi Flake had left the hotel at this point, Poppy refused to leave for over 7 hours, continuing to tweet. So Noe posts this sad girl poem. Poppy says, "Goodbye, pretty moth. I'm sorry you felt as though you were the one cracking when I was the one constantly getting hurt by your lack of decision and your unawareness to hold even a basic boundary. I love you and we miss you, as will the girls." As will the girls are Poppy's alters, by the way. But I do love this. "I'm sorry that you hurt me. I'm sorry that you fucked up my life, but I still love you." And then we're doing more like doom tweeting, like, "I spent so much money and so much time, and then like I even fucked you, and you don't want to date me." Woo. And then the other thing that she continues to say is like, they spent so much money on the hotel to come and visit Noe, so she was like, "Oh to fuck," basically. She was like, "Oh to relationship." Like, I came all the way down here and and no head. Okay, what the fuck? Like, I spent so much money, bro. Like, I literally bought you dinner and you're still not gonna fuck me. That's like the vibe that this gives. And then we say bye or whatever. So this is Poppy's BPD mega thread. Before we continue, let's take a moment to talk about how Poppy experiences BPD, which factors into how she's engaged with the situation and justified her behavior. Here's the BPD Twitter mega thread. I am blocked on Twitter, so these are the screenshots. Let's do the screenshots. These are the important excerpts. So we can see here these are my IDRL lab results, which found my symptoms to be moderate. Generally agree with this assessment. Girl, your symptoms are not moderate. Your symptoms are like mega fucking extreme. If these are true manifestation of BPD symptoms and not you being like Machiavellian dark triad manipulator. I would not use the word moderate at all based on anything that we've seen, but let's see. So we don't really have impulsivity. Okay. We have a lot of feelings of emptiness. We have huge feelings of fear and abandonment. We have a pretty sizable amount of unstable relationships. No self-harm behavior, maybe just like a little bit. Emotional instability, pretty high. I would say that this should be like coming out onto the text, like it should be like all the way out here on this one. Paranoid ideation, that should be higher in my opinion because she thinks that everybody is out to get her. Disassociation, I don't know if I buy this just based on like the sheer amount of volume where she's like with it and always like on her phone or always on stream or always on Discord. Splitting, so in BPD, splitting is like going between like idealizing and then like demonizing somebody where like this person literally put the stars in the sky for me and then they do one thing that pisses you off and it's like this is literally Hitler. I would also say this is like way higher just from what I've seen where it's like as soon as somebody does something that she doesn't like, they're literally a rapist. I would consider this to be a lot higher. And then we have identity and diffusion here. And okay. Also where she talks about how she experiences BPD personally. Poppy says, quote, "We are hypervigilant, constantly on the lookout for those that we love to leave us. This can manifest as fear of loved ones getting hurt in the best case scenario to projections of cheating to the worst case scenario. My experience of this is pervasive and constant." All I can say is like maybe be a better partner and people wouldn't want to leave you. That would be my advice, I suppose. This is like a horrible mushroom trip, you guys. That it's like I feel like that guy that I watched a documentary about this dude, and he took like the first time that he took acid, he took like 15 tabs, and now he's like permanently stuck in an acid trip. Like he has to wear sunglasses everywhere because he gets the visuals 24/7. It's like that's what I feel like right now. Like everywhere I look, I'm like hallucinogenic vaginal secretions. I'm like incest. Like everywhere. It's everywhere. It's. I feel like that's me. Okay, Poppy goes on to say, quote, "Even as other symptoms have faded over time, this one has stayed consistent. My only way of dealing with this has changed. When I say existentially afraid, I have to be clear what we're talking about. Abject terror. The loss of our other favored person feels not like grief, but a type of death. We take on traits of these people we love as a way to compensate for a lack of self. This isn't just a schema theory, but it's something deeper we do to a chameleon with people that we love. This is often where the, quote, manipulative claim comes from as we try to become desirable to others. We can come out as having an agenda / ulterior motive. Part of my experience is that the criterion flows as the others, such as anger and mood shifting. When we see abandonment, real or otherwise, we can become upset, passive-aggressive, or even self-sabotaging. One pattern of self-sabotaging is the tendency to believe that our partner is going to leave, so rather than share those fears, we act out. This happens multiple times. Eventually, our partner will leave, thus proving our belief is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Okay, this is true of BPD. Like, it's kind of like a BPD spiral, right? Where like you have this like deathly fear of abandonment. And so instead of communicating that effectively, what you do is you push the person away to self-validate, to kind of self-realize like, no, they do actually hate me, so I'm going to do this in order to validate my own delusion, essentially. This is something that is true. However, the thing, again, is that this is completely manageable, and let's go ahead and do like a little like reality check for a second. Poppy is like almost 45 years old. Obviously, this has been a self-destructive cycle for most of her life, if not all of her life. And the fact that she has just come to terms with this is who I am, this is how I am, nothing is going to change this about me. I am just going to be like a domestic terrorist in every single relationship that I enter, rather than doing introspection, rather than doing insight, rather than doing the work that she claims to be so well versed in as a therapist. Why? Why would you choose to live this way, other than to use this as like some kind of shield to hide from criticism? Like I said, this kind of unmanaged, rampant BPD, or at least BPD-esque behaviors, is a complete get-out-of-jail-free card for people who are too lazy to do the work to manage their symptoms. Okay. Where are we? The ugly trust with this criterion is it shows the reality. Okay, I don't really care anymore. I'm over it. When we see someone post about people with BPD being abusive, I highly recommend that you challenge them on it. Ask them how that person had a legitimate diagnosis, and if it was not someone with another diagnosis, further compounding the situation. We do not deserve the stereotype, and it does tremendous harm by damaging potential relationships and stopping us from getting the healthcare that we need. I will speak more on the myths and the criteria after this is done. The thing is even if you are mentally ill, you can be abusive. Hot take. Your mental illness does not excuse your behavior. Can mental illnesses and conditions cause certain behaviors? Yes, absolutely. Is that an excuse for that behavior? No, that is still something that you did to someone else. It doesn't matter if it is caused, if the root of the issue is like your irrational fear of abandonment, you acting out is still your responsibility. Your feelings, always valid. Your perspective on things, sometimes valid, depending on the truth of the matter. However, that exists purely in opposition to the way that you behave and your actions. And this is actually, surprisingly, a huge part of DBT. You have like your thoughts, your actions, or your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. And all of these things are separate. I can't really control, well, to an extent, I can control how I think about things. I can't really control my emotional reactions, the way that I feel about certain things. And I can absolutely control my behavior and how I act based on what I'm feeling and what I'm thinking. I can control what I do about that situation. And your unwillingness to control your behavior is indicative of, one, that you don't want to get better, or two, that you're doing it intentionally. In this case, I think it's number two. I'm going to pick number two, my lord. I'm going to pick number two. Okay, there is more, but that's for now. If we give an extremely uncharitable reading, this is an abuser lying about laying the groundwork for letting them get away with everything and anything. That is what I would say. I prefer to approach this in good faith. This experience is seen by Poppy as an unfixable reality. So, like, she believes that she's just going to die this way, that this is just how she is. Okay, a personal note on BPD. One of the things that upsets me most about how Poppy causes harm with her platform is how she espouses her perspective and experience on BPD as the objective reality. True. You'll see this later when one of her more prominent supporters describes it as the, quote, emotional equivalent of having covered in third-degree burn. Your body covered in third-degree burns. Even the slightest touch is often horrifically painful. This is a grotesquely and horrifically irresponsible way to discuss BPD. The only goal here is to describe how hard life is for her, which turns BPD into yet another excuse to justify her behavior. She doesn't seem to consider or care how it can affect others with BPD who are looking for her to advise or even hope. While it's important to mention, while she's mentioned this very briefly in passing on stream, I want to highlight it here because it's fucking important. BPD is not just 24/7 suffering. And then this person gives an account of their experience with BPD. I will also say that Luxander is the GOAT when it comes to dialectical behavioral therapy, as well as like understanding and rationalizing BPD, because it's something that surprised Luxander struggled with greatly. Luxander did the work, and now Luxander is, quote-unquote, in remission and no longer experiences the behavioral symptoms of BPD and is able to manage them appropriately with tools that was learned by practicing and learning BPD, essentially. So again, if that's something that you're interested in, I would recommend Luxander's coverage of this, because Luxander hits the nail on the head every single fucking time with this, I will say. Okay, this little section here, I think, demonstrates very, very clearly the way that Poppy is intentionally manipulative and very malicious in doing so. So everybody strap in. This is wild. So this is the screenshot that we read earlier about Poppy being broken up with after having SRS and hooking up with Noi Flake. The day after this, she says, "I've never felt a picture so much. I know this isn't the original intent. Crushing on a straight girl and waiting for her to return care so you feel okay. But I wish you could give back all the time, money, and pain. So my body didn't feel so used." I'm sure she meant my body. So this is just a fursona saying, "You need to give me back my love so my body can forgive me." Then a couple of days later, Poppy says, "This was her Christmas present to me, using me sexually and leaving me. I deserve better than this. I deserve people who are going to love me." And then it says, "She fucked me hard, then she left." And this is like a depiction of obviously like something very disturbing that we don't want to think about. Something that I will interject here that will become relevant later when we go over document 3.5. It's also mentioned in this document. Noi Flake is asexual. So Noi Flake had said on multiple occasions, I don't really like having sex, but I will do that for my partners because I know that it's something that they enjoy, but it's not for me. Like, I don't really like it that much. So this is in the context of that is important. The way that Poppy describes this, like, she used me sexually, she fucked me and left me on the side of the road, she raped me and then threw me in a ditch. It's like she wasn't even there to fuck. You know what I mean? She was there to do that for you because that was something that you care about, because you're so horny all the time. It's all you can fucking think about is fucking. She was willing to do that for you as a partner. Like, again, if we travel back in time and we read the Noi docs again, if you have to pick somebody in that scenario to be rape victim, I would pick Noi. I would not pick Poppy, because Noi essentially says, I just did it for you. I didn't even really want to, but I did it because I knew that it was important to you. Like, unless you read it backwards, there's no way that Poppy was, like, raped. Like, I just don't know what to say. So Poppy says, with another cringe persona, "I just had a conversation with one of my close to your friends. As we were talking, I was describing about being used sexually. She basically compared it to something I can to assault. I don't know if I agree with that, but the idea of being used just to see if someone still loves you really does feel gross, and I do feel used and violated. I guess I'm just going to have to figure out how I feel more about that in therapy today. Yay, more trauma." And then this fursona is a sad furry in the shower, and it says, "Showering only hurts now. The warm water only reminds me of the warmth of your body holding me tight. It feels like staying a shard of glass going through my skin." Okay. And then this was on the 27th. So we can see the progression here. Sorry for assaulting your eyes again. So 23rd, I got broke up. 24th, I'm starting to feel a little sussy. Then we have the 25th. I don't know, guys. Maybe I was raped. Then we have the sad furry. On this date, I skipped over this one. This was on the 27th. This is Poppy. It has been confirmed that this is her editor, Penelope, that is confirming her delusions here. Poppy says, "I wish you could too. Do you really think that what she did to me was somewhere in that ballpark, similar to rape?" And this person says, "Yes, unquestionably. That is coercion at the very least. She literally fucked you under an entirely false pretense, basically lied about her emotions and used your body to understand her own emotions with no consideration for you." So then we have here a screenshot of her Discord server, and this is on the 27th. We have a timestamp here. This is her little bio on Discord. It says, "I guess I get to add SA survivor to my resume of trauma." On the 29th, we have Poppy saying, "I love when an ex slips into ZZ's DMs and tries to tell them that missing the informed part of informed consent is an assault. I believe we are having sex under one agreement, and that agreement was never true. I would have been manipulated to give consent. It's that fucking simple." So, hot tip for all of you Rizless people out there: if you meet somebody on Tinder and you are going to hook up, you need to make very clear that if you guys hook up, you have to get married. Otherwise, you're being assaulted. That is the Poppy method, tried and true. Okay, you guys. So all you have to do is say, "Hey, if we fuck, we're gonna get married, right?" And they're like, "Yeah, I guess." And then if you guys don't get married immediately after you guys fuck, boom, you gotta use the Poppy method, tried and true, guys. Okay. Poppy says, "Let's cover consent, my current situation with my ex at Noi Flake." The other thing that's weird, I've said this a million times, I'll continue to say it. The fact that this is litigated publicly on Twitter is just so weird to me. Like, why are you tagging her in this? Like, just let it go. The area where my consent was violated is the I or the informed part. I was under the impression that we were being intimate as a means to finally be together after 4 months of waiting because we both heavily attracted to each other. In short, I thought that it was just an act of love and lust. However, the next day when she walked out, she informed me that she had done everything that she had done there, she had done as a test to see if she still loved me. The reality is, if I had known that she was using sex as a litmus test for her feelings, I never would have consented. Poppy then goes on to say the informed part of consent is not just the safe sex discussion, it is being on the same page before and during the act. If this was to determine her feelings for me, she should have said so up front, because I would have said no. I'm not someone to fuck. I am not fucking someone just to have my heart broken afterwards. Well, then don't be gooning all over the place. Don't be a gooner. This is Linnea Kersner. Linnea Kersner did an interview with Poppy. I have that interview on my channel. This person is also like cuckoo bananas bonkers. I'll actually just put this link in the chat because this is very crazy to me. All right. So anyway, this is Linnea Kersner saying that Poppy was raped by deception, and then sources this Yale Law article, which actually talks about rape by deception. And this article is used by transphobes, which I find heavily ironic. Additionally, it is alleged in the Tumblr link that I just dropped below that Linnea Kersner is actually violently transphobic. So it's ironic that she has this little article on hand. But anyway, so we have the next section titled "The Blowjob," 1226. Poppy's initial tweet about this part of the encounter is easy to miss. She mentions that she, quote, learned sucking a girl's dick is fun. There was zero discomfort or coercion expressed here. So this is posted on December 26th. Poppy says, I still feel like an important verse were forever robbed from me. At least I learned that sucking girl dick is fun, and apparently I'm okay at it. Need to work on that skill tree. So maybe the head was just so shitty. Maybe it was just bad head. Also, 40-year-old Poppy that has like an entire fucking harem of Discord kittens is just now sucking girl dick. Curious. A couple of weeks later, you can see her story changes in real time. So this is on the 1st of January 12th. She says, wait, is she talking about when I went down on her? You mean that time where she purposely unsnapped her leotard and I started performing oral and she grabbed my head because she was into it? She can't even lie well. Well, we have previous confirmation that sucking girl dick is fun. Sorry, guys. Sorry for the assault on your senses. I apologize. Please like the video for reparations for me reading this, because I, too, am suffering, okay? At least we're together. A half an hour later, she shifted the story to be more severe. So this was 12:35 p.m., 1/12/24. Then at 1:06 p.m., 1/12/24, Poppy says, does that mean that she violated my consent when she grabbed my head to force it down because I couldn't explicitly give verbal consent because my mouth was full of her Glock? God, do you guys, have you ever wanted to do like heroin so bad in your life? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I want to take one of those like hand mixers, but do that to my fucking brain right now. Oh God in heaven. So within the span of an hour, we have, when was this posted? This was on December 26th. So, oh my God, we love girl dick. And then it's like, wait, she purposefully made me suck her dick. And then she was like, I literally couldn't even say no because I was choking on that gawk. Not the Glock, bro. Not the Glock, please. Okay, so this is a link to the comprehensive collection of DMs surrounding this incident. So, yeah, if you guys want to read that document, you can. I have already read it. I already have content of me reading it, so I'm not going to do that again. Anyway, this doc is long, but it decisively proves that Haley tried extensively to express how much this relationship had been harming her and that she wanted to walk away. Over the course of 24 hours, Poppy and Xena spent 15 of them relentlessly arguing her to change her mind and acquiesce to what Poppy wanted. By the final few hours, it was clear that she disassociated. She could barely repeat more than a few words at the time, and openly states that she's in such a bad condition that the line between her and her protector Alter had become blurry. Poppy doesn't let this stop her from trying to get Haley to say that she loves her and wants to be together. So if you read these documents, it's very like Poppy sends like 5 messages, and then Noe's like, okay. And then she sends like 10 more messages, and then Noe's like, yeah, for sure. And then she sends like 23 messages, and then Noe's like, okay, cool. Like that, yeah. The Glock doc. Oh, dude, that should be the thumbnail for this one, huh? That should be the thumbnail for this one, the Glock doc. Everybody grab the Glock and balls. Everybody get ready for the Glock and balls. Let's go. So Twitter blows up. 110, Haley finally speaks up. So Haley finally posts on Twitter. Noe is also Haley. Like, those are both the names that they use. It's not like the Alter. Haley is like another name that Noe uses. So now he says the entire dog pile squad was sent out me with instructions to copy paste the list and some other stuff. They can harass as many people as they can. This person says, I got really bad tyrannical vibes from the initial screenshots. The my way or the highway mindset is quite awful. But yeah, I mean, there's proof of people attempting mass reports. Brigading is immoral and also a breach of the site's rule is not a good look. Noe says, the only part of this that I'm even involved in is when she is obsessed with me. I want nothing to do with her abusive extra lies. No proof of nothing. I still question how an ace person is willing to trick anyone into sex. I don't even have sexual needs or wants. So like I said earlier, we're doing like a little callback here where I said that one of the things is going to be that Noe is asexual. So Noe like didn't want to go down there to fuck. Noe was like, I know that this is something that is important to you. I'm willing to do it for you, but it's for you, truthfully. Like, it's not for me. So that is something that we mentioned a tad bit earlier and is relevant now. Poppy doxes Haley's name. So there was too much fully captured in the following weeks, but here are some choice moments. Please remember that some of the people in the screenshots have since changed their minds. So Poppy says, it would be lovely if people would just believe me when I say I've been the victim of assault. I spoke to someone at La Casa at the redacted police department, and my therapist, who is the head of a major university program, all said blank assaulted me. So this is this person's full fucking name. Anyway, I would love to see receipts of this. I don't think Poppy will ever show receipts of this. However, I would love to see receipts that like all of these people agree that somebody breaking up with you after you guys fuck is rape. I don't believe that for a second. I believe that Poppy lied to all of these people. While Poppy had her own video about her legal name being tagged in a call-out post from an ex essentially being the same as doxing her, her argument justifying posting Haley's full name was that she hadn't legally changed her name from her dead name yet, so there was no issue. So this is her basically crying about somebody who posted her name in a Twitter thread, talking about how she was too dangerous to be a therapist, essentially, and she considered that to be doxing. So here are some more takes on doxing. Poppy says, Doxing is the act of publicly providing personal identifiable information about the individual organization, usually via the internet and without their consent. Historically, the term has been used to refer to both aggression of this information, public databases and social media websites like Facebook, and the publication of previously private information obtained through a criminal or otherwise fraudulent means, such as hacking and social engineering, the aggregation and provision of the previously published, blah, blah, blah. Reminder that the fish and the moth have caused people to attempt to dox us, not a preferred name, which does not match the definition, but going after our home and Poppy's work. Any claim otherwise is dishonest. They want us harmed and gone. I will be very clear. I don't think a single person that is not like a deranged maniac on the same level of Poppy's level wants Poppy to like kill herself or get like murdered or whatever. People just want her to stop like this weird behavior. People want her to stop having access to people who are like vulnerable, mentally ill, like trans neurodivergent people that she farms into her audience and then uses them basically as like Discord sex slaves. People want Poppy to take accountability. People want Poppy to apologize. People want Poppy to like get real fucking help and stop behaving this way. I don't think that a single soul that like isn't actually like schizophrenic wants Poppy to kill herself or to be harmed. I don't think that's true. Never mind, but when Haley does legally change her name, things will pop up when they search for it online. And so, like this, Luxander talks about this a little bit. So they use Poppy uses Haley's like preferred name or whatever because she hasn't legally changed her name to whatever it is. But it's kind of fucked up that this is the name that she wants to legally change her name to. But now she can't legally change her name to this because if you Google this person's name, it's going to be like 47 videos of Poppy saying that this person is a fucking rapist. Like that's kind of fucked up, right? Okay. So if it's public, then it's fair game, but not if the name they use publicly, then it's also fair game. But if they do it to Poppy, it's a crime. But also if Poppy feels like it's necessary, then she'll use her full legal name. Her excuses are just that, excuses to justify why basic ethics rules that she applies to everyone else don't apply to her. So we've been knowing that. So this is what finally pushed Haley to start responding online. All things exploded between these two sides. Poppy egged on her followers as they continue to be as incendiary as possible and provoke responses. So this is Trans Khalifa. This is Melina saying, if you were paying attention to Poppy's tweets at the time, you would know that she got blocked by Noe beforehand. PNZ had to negotiate that trip. Still happened, not Noe. Poppy's pain is real and valid, but not evidence of anything other than her emotions. And so this person says, so it's even worse than what Poppy said. Usually if I'm to the point of blocking, then I don't invite them to the house for sex. That's just me, though. Base take. Noe says they begged and guilt tripped me to come down to the hotel they already paid for. Poppy was fully aware that I didn't want to be with her anymore. I've had of that. ZZ guilt tripped me into giving one last chance to talk. Sex was never on the table or desired with either of them. I even told them both ahead of time that there was only a tiny chance that anything could be fixed. Poppy initiated sex without any form of my consent and then performed sexual acts on me and forcefully before the night without asking. The sex had nothing to do with anything. I left because of their arguing and toxic personalities. They constantly argue with each other, and I just got ganged up on by both of them. I was trapped and I had nobody I could talk to because they both support each other, even though Poppy was ignoring ZZ the whole trip. Confirmed that Xena was actually in the cuck chair for the entire trip. Confirmed Sneeko is Xena. Confirmed. This person asked, can you at least understand why anybody would have a hard time believing you? Why would you allow people whom you clearly despise at the time to enter your own home? Noe said nobody entered my home. They planned and reserved a hotel room for the day. Poppy did that from the very start. My home was never a factor. I only agreed to still let them come down because they were guilt tripping me over most of it. And then so this person is like, why would you go and see them? It's like, I don't know, after I was just like verbally assaulted for like days. This person says, here, I fucking highlighted it for you. Stop trying to gaslight me personally. Thanks. And Noe says, did you just not read what I posted them? The daytime is right before the nighttime. With peace and love, you're either stupid or lying. Rape equals non-consensually initiating sex. Noe says, I'm glad you agree with me. What she did was initiate without consent. Poppy and Zeta says, do you see why 4 months of her with her was abusive? Constant lack of clarity, clear answers, and cryptic bullshit. And that's nothing to speak about the constant boundary crosses that are well documented. So I would just like to point out here as well that when Poppy did her little interview with Leanna Kersner, she says herself that she initiated the sex with Noe. She says that she is the one who initiated the intimate acts. And it's funny because when you watch it, she kind of like chokes on it. She's kind of like, and I was the one who initiated. She's kind of like, oh, fuck. Like, because she very clearly says, I am the one that initiated this. Okay. So then we have some more going back and forth. Noe says, I told them I would try. I told Zizi there was basically no chance that anything would be solved. I was told that that was okay. As long as I gave one final chance, I was told I could just walk away if it didn't work out. So I did. They chose to come down despite me breaking up with P. And then Poppy comes back to all this and says, you mean the trip I surprised her with and she was excited for? Like we cleared this with her weeks in advance. And then we have more people dick riding Poppy. The hallucinogenic vaginal secretions are too strong. The language you're using oozes of fake concern. Excuse me. Poppy says, good call. Nothing about this comparison. It's vitriol. These women want us gone, or they want me to kill myself or hurt my feelings. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, note that I was still offering empathy and validating her pain. At one point, I was trying to point out where she agreed with her opponents. Poppy only saw it as manipulation and vitriol, but reconciled with me less than 2 weeks later. Doesn't mean that she knows that her perception here is wrong. So Poppy says, I just don't see, considering the circumstances and your BPD, how consent was even possible to your brain. It was the equivalent of holding a knife to your throat at this person. Finally, someone fucking gets it. Okay, so you're too mentally ill to consent to sex, is what I'm reading. You're just so mentally ill. You're so mentally ill. Every relationship you will ever be in, every relationship you've ever been in has just been rape. Like, your entire existence is just rape because you are so mentally ill that you can't consent to sex because you are too attached to them. I just don't... Okay, we don't have time to get into Leanna Kersner. I just don't know why Poppy, a licensed therapist, is taking psychiatric guidance from someone who is not a therapist, especially when Poppy is so aggressively shut down other people's lived experience under the guise of, quote, you're another professional. Now, I don't know why, because she has unquestionably supported Poppy and had no problem viciously bullying me in public when I tried to engage in a genuine conversation about my experiences. Oh, so this person is Liana. Okay. Context. Poppy says, you mean inflated and made up stories you curate from liars. People have read your manifesto. It's just a nothing burger, editorialized garbage that Liana and I debunked days ago. She actually didn't debunk it at all. Anybody who watches that interview and believes that doesn't have ears. Like, okay, regardless of motivating factors here, Also, it should be noted that Liana did not debunk it. Oh, that's what I just said. Oh my god, twins. She dismissed it wholesale and publicly mocked me for it when I tried to engage with her as civilly as possible. After relentless cruelty from her in one of her dozen tweets, I finally made a bitter snide remark about it and pounced on it, gloating about how it clearly showed that I was the actual abuser. It was about as fun as it sounds. Ironically, this is another standard abuse tactic. It's one that Poppy and her closeted supporters follow almost universally. Be cruel and invalidating as possible, and when your target finally breaks down and lets negative reactions through, ignoring a point, they have to drill in about the evidence, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Don't worry, it gets worse. So one thing that I would like to point out that I am very excited to see how this plays out, and this is the drama goblin part of my brain, the drama goblin side of my brain. Okay, so please take this with a grain of salt. And while you're taking this grain of salt, smash that fucking like button on that video, okay? And give me your fucking money right now, okay? Anyway, Poppy kind of banks her ability to control the narrative because everybody that is speaking out against her, she either believes that she has dirt on, she has a bigger community than, and that these people are mentally ill. And again, I don't mean that in a derogatory way. We love our mentally ill kings and queens here. We love mentally ill people, okay? The people that are covering this now, she has no leverage over. So it will be very interesting to see how she responds to all this. It will be very interesting to see what the next move in the playbook is because we're out of tricks. Our bag of tricks is now empty. We can't use the "you raped me." We can't use the, like, "I'm going to nuke you because you have a smaller platform than me." We don't have the "I'm going to emotionally manipulate you because you want to fuck me." We don't have that anymore. Like, we don't have these tools at our disposal at the current moment. And so it will be interesting to see how this all plays out because if she, is like, "I'm going to nuke this person, I'm going to nuke that person," historically that has worked really well for people that don't have clout, people that don't have a following, people that are just trying to, get their side of the story and their experiences with Poppy heard. She had all of the control over Courtney Orchard. She had all of the control over Dormu. She had all of the control over Noi. She had all of the control over Melina. She had the control in all of these situations because she had a bigger platform and because all of these people were like mindfucked for her and they like, I'm not going to say this for Dormu, but like some of these people that she tries to control are people that think that she's hot or want to fuck her. So she has like some element of control over it. What does she have over Chud Logic? Nothing. What does she have over Stardust? Nothing. What does she have over fucking Queenman? Nothing. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out. All right, moving on. All right, let's continue. Okay. Don't worry, it gets worse. True. Okay, aside, the weaponization of the Foundation. Poppy refers to her followers for pitching her into online harassment. It is important to recognize that PNZ attract vulnerable people looking for mental health support in their server. Due to Poppy's speciality in BPD, that includes a lot of traumatized people with BPD. Of course, that doesn't include everybody who supports her, but by incentivizing them to mobilize, she is weaponizing the loyalty and intensity of the attacks on her opponents, even if she doesn't explicitly say so. Her speaking out about these conflicts in her community and on her platform leads to it, but then she recognizes it, boosts it, and applauds their actions. This Willie guy, this guy legitimately has schizophrenia. Like, I think that this guy, like, needs to be Baker acted. This guy was on YouTube. I'm not kidding. This guy's crazy. This guy messaged me. He thinks that I work for Chud Logic or something. This guy's weird. This guy is also, like, a pedophile. He, like, tries to erotic roleplay with minors and shit on Discord. This guy's a fucking weirdo. But let's just see what he has to say. He says, please report the accounts listed here. They harassed my friend to the point of suicidal ideation after one of them sexually assaulted her. Literally evil shit. This includes Annie. So this is Annie. Annie Gallagher is another person who is legitimately a pedophile. Annie Gallagher had a Discord server where 14 and 15-year-olds were posting nudes and that she freely allowed minor attracted persons to freely be a part of as long as they weren't, quote, being weird or creepy. So this person is a fucking freak as well. She encourages us by reaching blah, 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 blah. So here's Willie. We don't really care what Willie has to say. Willie is unwell. This person says, gargle my balls, you little pussy, to Gayfesh. Nice. This person says, screaming some support for Lady Dubleek. You've been going through so much this year. I hope this new year is kind to you as it is to others. You deserve some peace. It's also important to note how they indoctrinate their followers to apply double standards. Know how the following list criteria of risks apply to any of the people that Poppy has harmed, which includes multiple X's that fit this. And that's not even getting to how this shit has affected Poppy. We're talking about someone who is A, trans, B, employed, C, has BPD. All of the people that she is going after as well are also trans, mentally ill, and unemployed. So, I mean, if the shoe fits, I guess. By doing this shit, you have ensured that Poppy's at risk of 1, losing her job, 2, having real life harm, 3, worsen harassment, her potentially killing herself, and someone going out and killing her. Case in fucking point. Seriously, fuck all the people involved who drove her to this point. I would like to preface again, we're gonna touch grass for just a second, you guys. Poppy could have prevented all of this by keeping her weird gooner degeneracy to herself instead of making it a public thing. Okay, so Sage, weaponizing trauma. I do need to see something directly about Sage. While we've left her out of the rest of the consistently vicious responses out of this, she has repeatedly called Fesh a chaser. Okay, this is something where she's saying that Gay Fesh is a chaser. Gay Fesh supposedly has trauma around being called a chaser, so he has asked to like not be called a chaser or whatever. And then in the past, Sage has said like, you guys like leave Gay Fesh alone, he's on a chaser. But now that we're mad at Gay Fesh, it's like gloves are off. And so this is something, although it be small, although it be, you know, a minor drop in the ocean of drama, it is important to note that something that Poppy and people in her orbit do regularly is if there is something that bothers someone, they will stick the knife in and they will twist it about that specifically. And this is just an example of that. Feel how you would like about Gay Fesh. It is none of my business. I don't care. I personally don't care for him, but that's neither here nor there. This is something that Gay Fesh has expressed and said, this is something that I don't like. It bothers me. And before, when they were friends, it was like, let's be mindful of the things that bother Gay Fesh. Let's be polite. Let's be considerate. Let's be mindful, whatever. Now that Gay Fesh is not friends with these people anymore, they are very happy to use that against him, right? You also saw this with with Courtney Orchard. We also saw this with Noi Flake. We see this with like every single person that has interacted with Poppy and Xena, that if there is a sore spot, that is what they will dig into. And that is very scary, because you have somebody who is like, I'm a mental health professional, like, you can trust me, you can tell me anything, tell me your deepest, darkest secrets. These people express things to her, and then she stores that away in her arsenal to use later to, like, be a dick. So, I mean, feel how you want about Gay Fesh. This is indicative of a greater pattern of using things that bother people as, like, a way to get under their skin, which is fucked up. Okay, enough about that. Let's move on. Quote, you never identified as Ace. So remember that Noi Flake was like, I didn't want to fuck. Like, you were the one that wanted to fuck. I wanted to fuck because I knew it was important to you. I'm asexual. And so Poppy says, first, you never ID'd as Ace during the relationship. Second, Ace is nowhere on any of your profiles. Third, is that sexual assault is about power, not about sex. The idea that you being asexual somehow protects you from allegations is gross. Ace people are not your shield. Ironic. We're like this close to the point, you guys. We're like this fucking close. Like, she recognizes it in other people, but doesn't recognize it in herself. That gets a sad air horn. That gets a sad air horn, you guys. I'm sad. Tragic. Okay. Okay, so Noi, these are from 7/4/23, so this is well before they met up. This is like when they first started dating. Noi says, I'm not super sexual physically, but I'm very gay. Poppy says, I can get behind that. Noi says, delightful. Poppy says, so we're just sapphiccally cuddle. Noi says, I'm more than happy to play as well. I just can't promise much for my own body's sake. I love to get other people off, though. Cuddling is also amazing. Poppy says there, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. It's cut off. I don't know who says that. But so Noe says, right, I know that, but that's not something I have a huge need for personally. Sex isn't required for me. Cuddling, kissing, and that sort of thing fulfills my intimacy needs. Poppy says, I'm two minds of that. Noe says, those are important to me greatly. Poppy says, on one hand, if that's how you really are, then there's not much I can say about it other than it's valid. Noe says, I'm not saying I won't have sex. Poppy says, on the other, it does make me feel particularly desirable. It doesn't really make me feel desirable. This is like terminal main character syndrome. Somebody is like, yeah, I'm just like not really into sex. Like, I get my like intimacy needs met with my partners by like doing other stuff. Like, that's fine. Like, you know, love languages and shit, guys. Like, maybe just holding hands is all the kind of like physical contact you need from your partner. That's cool. Live, laugh, love. Live your dream, okay? But Poppy takes that to mean that really fucking pisses me off because it doesn't make it feel like you want to fuck me. I want to feel fuckable all the time. I have to be the sexiest bitch in the room at every time. Like, I want you to be able, like, unable to control yourself in my presence because I want you to want to fuck me so bad. It's horrific. It's just horrific. It's just horrific. It's like, not everything is about you. Please. Poppy says, no, I get that. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just telling you, like, how the conversation is impacting me right now, and I feel like I'm not particularly desirable. Like, my desire is to be sexual with you. We fantasized about it because those are things that I want, but you're saying now it feels how you could take it or leave it, which to me feels like the person I'm dealing with doesn't have any other frame of reference to use as a reference. It feels like you just don't want me, but you're willing to engage with me because you know I want that. Sort of feels like a pity fuck. And then Noe says, you're not a pity fuck. You're a person that I love dearly, my partner that I want to make happy. So again, she just, like, wants She's like, no, I'll do it because I know it's something that you need. Like, I'm willing to compromise and like meet your needs because this is something that is important to you. It's just not something that I really give a fuck about. But I'm willing to do it because I know it's important to you. And then Poppy's like, but you don't want to fuck me. You don't think I'm sexy. Please tell me I'm sexy. Tell me you love me. Poppy tries to convince Haley that she's not asexual because ace people do not experience sexual attraction. So Poppy says, I mean, one, I don't know if fixing you is a good framing. Two, it might be a simple fix for your HRT. So this is the weird like pink pilling bullshit where she's like, if you just take more hormones, you'll be more horny and want to fuck. It might be as simple as fixing your HRT. You've said that your sex drive was higher before and your levels are too high, i.e. above 300. That could be the cause, especially blah, 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 blah. Ace people do not experience attraction. That is the core feature. So you might be demi based on your reports, but I think hormones is the issue. Let's get blood work 3 to 4 times a year. Or I get blood work 3 to 4 times a year, excuse me. And, no, he says, oh, I don't know. I only have yearly appointments. And Bobby says, that's the flower flame parenthood, blah, blah, blah. It's one of my DIY bitches too. But yeah, all evidence points to this being hormones. And who knows, you went down on spiral. That might change things. If not, that's okay. Sorry, stop taking hormones so you can be horny for me. Okay. So Noi Flake talking about the dog pile. Poppy says that you need to publicly apologize. No one harassed her. No instances of harassment is on her page. She posted no screenshots of harassment. Also, we're not trying to weaponize our community against her. Leave her alone and block the disgusting lot of them. Then Puppy says, Haley, people are allowed to disagree with your actions. We are alleging sexual assault. People are going to take issue with that, especially because you tried the abuser tactic of Darvo. Meanwhile, Poppy's middle fucking name is Darvo. And you made a counterclaim, zero details just to squirm your way out of the attention. And then she says, you claim Poppy did this shit, but can't back anything up, while Poppy, on the other hand, is giving painful detail after detail. Either publicly apologize to Poppy for the abuse, the ableism, and sexually assaulting her after lowering her 500 miles on Christmas, or shut the fuck up with our sick meme, dude, owned with memes again in the marketplace of ideas. Like, you sexually assaulted and lured me. I was lured. Okay. Okay, and then she says here, I've never ever said that people with BPD can't consent. Ever, I've said that my BPD and the status of my relationship made consent null and void. So, you guys, I'm not saying that BPD means that you can't consent. I'm just saying that my BPD means that I can't consent ever. Anyway, I'm going to continue to flirt with every 19-year-old that I come across on Twitter. Okay, so we have call-out mega threads. So this is Farron. This is also in the document 1. Where Farron makes like a call-out post about, the experiences with Poppy. Farron was a friend of Noi Flake. So that's where that comes from. Then, of course, we have several dozen call-out threads by Gayfesh. Again, feel how you feel about Gayfesh, but Gayfesh has been documenting this pretty meticulously, which I appreciate. Something that Gayfesh mentions as well, that I think is important to call attention to, is that Poppy and Xena continually tried to get people to speak out publicly in defense of them. So one of the big falling outs that they had with Gayfesh was that they were like, Gayfesh, I need you to tweet about this and defend me publicly. And Gayfesh was like, well, I want to read everything. Like, can I read it and like think about it? And then I'll go ahead and I'll like do that. And then Poppy was like, no, fuck you. You need to say right now publicly that you support me. She also messaged Vosh. She also messaged Keffels. Like, she was just trying to get people to like blindly follow her into the night, which obviously didn't go very well for her, obviously. So 120, Poppy finally publicly calls this rape. Poppy says, what my hate campaign wants for me is to kill myself. Again, that's not true. We just want you to get help, Queen. Whether they admit to it or not, this is where the war on my life leads, loss of my job, insurance, and people. I'm thankful for those who speak up. So few do. Content creators, large accounts. I feel forgotten and alone as I watch the woman who raped me get celebrated. The online left is a joke, a dead one. We should all be ashamed. And she says here, at Noi Flake raped me and then tried to get me to defend herself by making up false counterclaim and claiming that she was asexual. Then here again, Poppy says a reminder that Noi Flake raped me. Again, she keeps adding her. It's like, you're the one that's making this worse. And then I couldn't consent because of my BPD, so we've come full circle again and saying I was too mentally ill to fuck, basically. Aside, Poppy and BPD management. So Poppy says, having borderline managed means having the same awful thoughts come up over and over and over again, as well as the reaction to those thoughts by having the restraint not to say those things out loud because, they will scare people. So Luxander, again, BPD, boss bitch, goes over this pretty extensively. But the reality is that part of dialectical behavioral therapy is being able to change the way that you think and frame things and making sure that they're more in congruence with reality. So no, BPD isn't just like treatment for BPD and management of BPD is not just like putting on a mask and going around in the world and then taking your mask off at the end of the day. But you're just like, exploding, like chomping at the bit, trying to not say all these horrible, awful things that will scare everybody away. You're genuinely changing the way that you think about things. You're genuinely changing the way that you perceive the world and how your feelings and your experiences fit into reality. So this is just not true. So many things wrong here. We'll ignore Rudy and his spreading of misinformation about mental health. But why does no one get to diagnose Poppy with MPD? Y'all whine about it when you do it. It's fine. Also, no clue who Callista is, but Poppy has never done DBT, only EMDR. So she said earlier that she tried DBT, but it just didn't work for her. So if it's true that she's never tried DBT, it shows. I don't believe that. I'm sure that she's tried it and she was like, oh no, accountability. Ooh, let's try something different. So, continuing on, just so everybody knows, DBT is a universally considered the most effective form of managing BPD symptoms. It is tantamount to saying therapy doesn't work on me, which hopefully I don't have to explain the irony coming from Poppy. Also, one of the controversial aspects of EMDR is that it can severely trigger or worsen dissociations in patients with dissociative disorders, which Poppy has an extensive history of. So Poppy actively shuns the most widely tested and proven management solution for her specific mental health condition in favor of one that is proven to worsen her other conditions. Stunning. Stunning. Poppy says, I love being gaslit. My feelings are real, but I don't know what happened to me. This isn't DBT. This is abuse under dialectical behavioral therapy's name. So I'll read this little blurb here for you guys. The D in DBT stands for dialectic, which literally means being able to hold two potentially contradictory concepts as true or valid at the same time. Specifically, in the context of DBT, it refers to separating one's emotions about the situation from the same objective reality of that situation. And yet she claims to teach DBT to her clients as a part of treatment in her sessions from her Psychology Today listing. So she is, experienced in or provides CBT. DBT is emotionally focused. So consider the way that Poppy has been pushing the narrative that that the emotional trauma of the experience means that she is legitimately essay by deception, essay, and soon rape. Also consider that she pushes the perception of the situation that is her only acceptable reality. Poppy does not even know how DBT works, and her behavior regularly goes against the healthier methodology that it offers. Ask her how much training she's done on it. I'd be impressed if it was more than one seminar. Don't worry, it gets worse. Okay, let's continue. Okay. 214, Poppy is put on notice at her job. So Poppy says, I don't know what to do. My friend of 20 years and boss might want me to end the channel and Twitter presence. The problem is going to be the offense on Twitter has led to real charges, such as pushing back on Noi's BS and getting hate blogs. Take shit down. We are making real progress against our detractors, and it feels like he will not listen to me about that. So what do I do? Do I keep defending myself and speaking out against my rapist, even if I could lose my job? Or do I go dark, rotate my job, and lose my way of being heard? I feel like I am being fucking silenced. Unfortunately, bro, we could have just, chosen the real life career that we have a master's degree for, and done that. Okay. So yeah, this is just very funny to me. If I had a master's degree in something and my job was like, Malcolm, quit shit posting on Twitter or I'm going to fire you, I'd be like, okay. I would definitely keep my real job. I would just say that, personally. Everybody's free to make their own choices. You know what I mean? It's a free country. Do whatever is best for you, queen. But I feel like this was the wrong move. Just in my personal opinion. Okay. More people depart. A friend of 20 years, a former boss, forced her to do this. She publicly called him an abuser. You guys, the boss was being abusive by saying, stop shitposting on Twitter or I'm going to fire you. There's an ultimatum on my career or my need to be heard. Lovely. Great seeing a classic abuser tactics on display. That is so funny. Ooh. All right. Because Poppy kept tagging her and trying to equivocate their trauma and pull her into the situation. So Poppy says, While we in no way could compare the shit that we go through to the horrors at Keffels went through, we get it. Our own stalkers are, quote, leftists, but with a personal grudge, who are literally backing up the girl who sexually assaulted me, sending love at Keffels. And then the status. Poppy then says at a later date, in my and at Keppel's case, misogyny, trans misogyny, lack of principles, personal grudges, and projection, the list goes on. They view us as the, quote, bad thing, and the bad thing can never be vulnerable victim because it would mess with their precious narrative of hate. Malcolm, where does the psychotropic vaginal discharge meme stuff come from? I can't find the fucking thing. Somebody will send it to me. Someone has access to this. I read it on stream. I'm not going to be able to find it now. I should have bookmarked it. But there was a big post on Tumblr about like her OC/alter Penny, I think. One of the alters that is like the demon shark hybrid or whatever the fuck. That alter / original character has hallucinogenic vaginal secretions, according to her character lore. So that's where that comes from. And then of course we have like a cringe meme. And this doesn't even, like, why do leftists have such a disdain for SA victims? And then we have to tag Keffels again. We're just really trying to get Keffels in here. Poppy says, so apparently Clara blocked me because I tagged her 3 times to mention about, quote, drama. C, my essay. Not to mention turning on Voosh. I am quickly losing respect for streamers. Containment arc continues. The number of people that have disappointed me as former friends around my rape is fucking wild. I will never trust any of you ever again. Again, this isn't like girl time friendship circle. Like, these are people that are like political commentators. They're streaming, they're doing their own thing. Just because like you exist in the same like corner of the internet does not mean that we're all buds and that we all engage in this blind loyalty bullshit, right? Like, that's not how this works. None of these people were her friends. None of these people, you know, like, were there for her wedding or there, you know, for, you know, the birth of her first child or whatever the fuck, right? Like, these aren't your friends. These are people that they're like essentially like coworkers. And the obsession with blind loyalty is just such an odd angle to look at this from, where it's like, we're in the same sphere. We're both leftist. We're both trans. You must defend me. Abusers love that shit. Abusers love idpol. All right, beyond safe words. This one is more recent. Beyond safe word says, I'd hoped to stay quiet about my disassociation with ZMP's channel, but with everything coming out, that's no longer an option. Now silence feels like complicity. It is humbling to reckon with the red flags that I missed, especially given my work and research. My decision was not made lightly. I would not risk losing friendships, a community, and access to a platform without doing my due diligence. This is all I'm willing to say publicly. Poppy handled it with trademark grace. And she says, so Beyond Safe Words has spoken out against us based on the fish's repeated rumors and nonsense from Tumblr. Legitimately disappointed at the loss of friendship. Expected better from all involved. Better research from a PhD candidate. In the end, this is all this is, and then it's a virtue signal. Note from Carice, who is a former moderator. Beyond Safe Words was removed from Keter and Elucid on the Foundation sometime in late January because she asked privately to distance herself from Xena and Poppy. I did not save the conversation, so it's just mine and Beyond Safe Words testimony. Carice has been one of PNZ's mods for 3 years. Up until now, she's been relatively quiet about leaving. She wanted to share these screenshots. So Carice in Discord says, here's the things I've gone back on your original accusations. So basically, Carice was like, Poppy, you weren't raped. You literally just got broken up with. And so this is where the fracturing of their relationship comes from. So Carice says, here's a few things. I've gone back on your original accusations that you posted nearly 7 weeks ago. Check how those were constructed versus how you decided to handle them since then. Here's what you said. 1, that it was sexual assault, not rape. While you did argue for the distinction in the original thread, I recall looking back afterwards, it being something that you did try to push. You only changed your accusation to rape around the time of mid-January. 2, that this was about being heard and sharing information about what happened. 3, you were not seeking legal avenues at this time. 4, you ended the thread with me versus her statement as it relates to Haley. I didn't realize that's what this was. Excuse me. Carice goes on to say, I did not deny sexual assault happened. I questioned why the narrative had changed and why it happened the way that it did. Here's what I have been told. Spoilers due to discussion of events. December 22nd, essay. January 2nd, accusation made. Here, approximately 10 days, there will be a distinction made on social media that it was not rape. In the original accusation thread, the one that was pointed to originally to help me get up to speed, it also claimed that the reason consent was broken was because Poppy was not fully informed of Haley's intent. Around January 15th, the accusation changed from essay to rape on social media. Around this time also appeared to be turning point of the falling out with Fesh occurred, and the private conversations occurring asking people to end their relationships with Haley that did not go Poppy's way. There's plenty more here, but early mid-January timeline stuck out to me as the escalation point. As for not being here, I did not know about any of this until it started leaking onto Arton's channel. The original accusation discusses how you were hurt, but it does not make clear just how hurt you were. The context I shared was information, was to explain the background information about Blanket this time. And this is the part where Poppy says the quiet part out loud. Poppy says, the narrative never changed. Not once. I only got my ground with my therapist. My original claim of sexual assault via deception is still valid. The only difference is I realized in the event mirrored my CSA history. And because of the relationship hang by a thread, I couldn't and I wouldn't have said no because of BPD. In other words, I could not have consented in the first place. That sounds like a you thing. If you're so mentally ill that you can't consent, why are you like finding people to hook up with all the time? Anyway, as far as rape versus SA, because social media decided to argue the validity of my sexual assault, I stopped trying to be accurate in my language because it was confusing things and just went with a stronger term. This isn't an inconsistency. This is a language change. My first accusation of something being wrong was December 27th, not the 2nd. So she literally says, I stopped saying sexual assault and I started saying raped because I wanted people to pay attention. And I'm not trying to be accurate in my words. So this is the Annie Gallagher, article. This was pinned on Poppy's Twitter for quite a while. Now it's her like GoFundMe or her Patreon, I think. But this was pinned at the top of her profile for quite a long period of time. It's Noi with rapist put over the top of it. Again, I will remind everybody that Annie Gallagher is a fucking pedophile, allowed pedophiles to be in a server where minors were freely and openly posting nude pictures of themselves. So Annie Gallagher, like, this is not the defense that you want. If somebody who is literally like a pedophile farmer is coming out to defend you, we kind of need to do a little bit of introspection here. Let's look at the people that are like on my side of the aisle here that are defending me, okay? Blah, 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 blah. This is a direct admission of libel. She says, notice that a few details are, quote, a bit off, but continues to encourage sharing the post without any corrections. This is a direct admission of libel, an actual crime. So what does the post say? It's long, but there's some in here, so screenshot of Gayfash tweeting this, and then Annie Gallagher says, for one, they could make frivolous accusations of misogyny against a rape survivor because she had said that her rapist's partner was unattractive while also deliberately ignoring the, quote, questionable part. Consent questionable part. It's a bit of a recurring theme for rape fash. So any criticism of the hypocrisy being framed as rape apologism is an invalidation of Poppy's experience, also regardless of the criticism itself. Remember how we've been looking at the skewed perception of BPD and how to use it? Remember that here. So this is Annie Gallagher saying that Poppy is basically like a 9/11 survivor because of her BPD and everything is like so triggering to her. And this is kind of boring because I don't really care what Annie Gallagher has to say. Like, her being a pedophile, her article can go directly into the fucking garbage can. Like, so Noe says, you can pass this on to Poppy. Shouldn't she be aware that she's actually spreading lies about LGBT people? And no, a lot of them claim that I wanted some form of power over her and wanted sex, but both of these are impossible. So Noe just saying, like, I didn't want to fuck. I was asexual. This person says, you had favorite person status and had sex with her under false pretenses. I can't see that anything other is wielding disproportionate power. So because Poppy was borderline and delusional, Noe took advantage of her. I don't know. Make it make sense. This one is a screenshot where Noe is basically like, I'm sorry that we like broke up or whatever the fuck. And says that this is evidence that Noe said, like, admitted to rape by deception, essentially. So Noe says, I lied about the sex stuff. I'm truly sorry for doing so. You were, this is really small, but so, like, the important part here is that I lied about the sex stuff. I'm sorry for doing that to you. This is in reference to Poppy, like, freaking the fuck out when Noe was trying to leave. And she was like, so you just fucked me as a litmus test. And Noe was like, okay, yeah, whatever. I fucked you as a litmus test. Can I please go? That's what this is in context or in relation to. Again, it was only, you know, Noe, Poppy, and God in that room. So we will never know, but I will once again be very clear. I believe Noe over Poppy. based upon what we have read. So this is interesting. So Ruan is a trans guy. Ruan was somebody who was one of the first people to start documenting and talking about Poppy and Xena. And Ruan said, like, you know, she also lives between 15 and 30 minutes from me, according to her latest GoFundMe post or whatever the fuck. We've literally seen each other at the local club, so that's why I'm invested. I care about my local scene and potential threats. So saying, like, because I'm in, like, literal, like, physical proximity to Poppy, I think it's important to talk about this. Poppy essentially tries to get him deplatformed on everything, like taking away his Patreon, his Ko-Fi, for attempting to dox Poppy. Because he said, I've seen Poppy, like, near me. We live kind of close to each other. That is the doxing. But posting Noi's full name on Twitter is not doxing, mind you. Don't understand. Okay. So apparently there's an attempt floating around. The reporting of Chud's financial links is, quote, attempted murder. This is hyperbole, plain and simple. For one, he had PayPal donations, so can still be taken. And two, this person cannot contact friends. Can contact friends and others to stay with. And at the time, Rowan was homeless. So that just, you know, kind of pulling in from all the corners of the internet here to say, like, the id poll behind this is actually bananas. Like, you are saying that, like, this person, like, doxed you and is trying to get you fucking murdered. And anytime anybody criticizes you, it's to try and get you to commit suicide. But you, like, literally mass reporting somebody's, like, donation links that's homeless, it's too far to say that's attempted murder. That's too far. But anytime that somebody says, Poppy, I think this is fucked up, like that means that you want Poppy to kill herself. Very interesting. So we have a little thread about that, blah, blah, blah. Even if I accept the premise that this is similar to, quote, attempted murder, which no one sane would, then so be it. So, like, even if I was trying to get him killed, which I'm not, by the way, but even if I was, I don't care. Sick. So that didn't happen. And if it did, it wasn't that bad. And if it was, it wasn't that big of a deal. And if it is, that's not my fault. And if it was, I didn't mean it. And if I did, you deserved it. That's the Poppy cycle. This is the Poppy cycle right here. Okay, and then meanwhile, Poppy is dropped from White Forest. White Forest is like the little streaming site where everybody has their own, you know, kind of website management and what have you, where they can live stream, get donations and stuff like that. That way, if you get, like, clapped on Twitter or if you get clapped on YouTube or whatever the fuck, you still have all of your stuff on, like, one central website. White Forest provides this service. Now, if anybody is unfamiliar with White Forest, a while back, there was a streamer called Rose Wrist who assisted Destiny in writing the Keffels Manifesto. Because of this, White Forest clapped his website. That was it. They were like, we voted, we're terminating your service. You are no longer, like, part of the White Forest collective or whatever. So we know, you know, that they are kind of willy-nilly with who they want on their platform and who they don't want on their platform. So we know that this is true, at least as of right meow. Okay. So this is funny. Gay Fetch says, for one, she has PayPal, so donations can still be taken. We love it. Rules for thee, but not for me. Love, 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 love. Okay, so we've got some more gay fesh stuff that I don't really care about that much. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, call for harassment. So this is on Annie Gallagher, pedophile Annie Gallagher's website. Begs the question, what do we do? There's a simple answer to this. You can leave these clout-seeking parasites alone with each other, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, here is a list of prominent public figures in account who have decided to attack Poppy. So we have Noi Flake, Dormu, Luxander, Athena, Farron, Gayfash, Rudon, Mixed Dizzy, Eleverum, Admiral Paco, Lady Raincloud, Aztec Times, Jessica Metal. Damn, you guys, I'm not on this list. That sucks. I may not be interesting in the inane blood sports, but I never said anyone else didn't have to be. This is literally suggesting people go after anyone that is listed here. True. Okay. Since this happened, PNC have streamed about the situation with Noi Flake. They published the edited video version on stream on March 20th, and it's worth watching just for the direct look into how they frame the situation, especially with the context that you have now. We dropped the Poppy 1 documentary, or the Poppy Amory 1 document shortly before they switched topics to Noi Flake, and what I call an H-bomb moment, which, sigh, and was stunning watching them drop lie after lie. I think this is the stream that they did, This was a video that they posted 2 months ago called Relationship Discussion Skipping Steps. And then 8 days ago, they did another stream where they talked about Noi Flake. When essay culture comes home. So if you want your ears to be assaulted more, maybe go check this out later, or maybe don't. Yeah. So, okay, processing via YouTube stream. So we just read this a little bit. I strongly suggest having the document as you watch the video, so you can follow along their lies and just see how extensive the deception has been. Okay, so now let's talk about Zoppy and Pina. The remix, Zoppy and Pina, the remix. Let's go, Malcolm. Okay, anyway. Let's talk about how they dealt with a trans immigrant from the UK that tried to speak about how they made it uncomfortable. So Dormu uses it pronouns, so I will put on my good boy hat for this one. So apology. So recently Dormu abruptly posted this after months of actively engaging in the conflict publicly on Twitter. So Dormu basically says, "I'm sorry for the hurt that I've caused. I've taken down everything." So what happened, the original testimony with the amendum. So originally what had happened, there is a link to it here. It's a transcript basically. But so what had happened was Dormu came to visit Poppy and Xena. At the time, Dormu was 18 years old. Poppy was like 41. So Dormu came to stay with Poppy and Xena. Dormu stayed in Poppy's office, and if anybody knows anything about Poppy, Poppy is like nocturnal. So Dormu's sleep schedule was all fucked up. That's a side bit. That's just kind of fucked up in general. But anyway, so they're staying with Poppy and Xena. Dormu is asexual for context, and we'll talk about this more in document 3.5. Dormu is asexual. The Dormu recounts of two instances, where Poppy was in several states of undress in the presence of Dormu. And when Dormu said, "This is kind of weird, I feel uncomfortable," or averted its eyes away so that it didn't see Poppy's titties and gawk, apparently, Poppy and Xena like made fun of Dormu and was like, "This ace puritanical bullshit is like so cringe, like that's so fucked up, like what's wrong, you've never seen tits before," or whatever. So the age difference is significant in the extent that like this person is Poppy is significantly older than Dormu. I would still find this behavior concerning if Dormu was older. Like if Dormu was like 35 or even 30, or like pick an age or whatever. If you go and you stay with somebody and they're naked in front of you and you're like, "Whoa, sorry, like I didn't realize that you were changing in front of me," and you're like, "What's the matter? You never seen tits before?" Like I would consider that to be weird and inappropriate behavior regardless of age. So, and I have a final bit of detail to add. Poppy made some objectifying comments about my body. I felt they crossed the line. Comments about my chest. If he gender feels aside, she made the comment from the angle of, "I'm jealous of your tits because dysphoria." But it was still making comments about my body that I felt so gross and wrong. I wished that I would have said it on the spot. Instead, I felt guilt for the way that my body was, and I gave her a hug. So, PNZ's response, mockery and boosting displays of loyalty. So Poppy says, "This kid is mad because we didn't give it money for immigration papers and because we wouldn't let it bring its awful partner who tried to abandon it in our home." For context, in the logs originally, Dormu agreed to come and stay with Poppy and Xena because Dormu's partner was like out of town for a week on a business trip. So the partner wasn't even invited into the situation, essentially. This is entirely retributive. It had pushed back on the stalkers until this and then joined them, just like my ex. But no matter what the reasoning is, how many attempts were made for civil conversations about the issue, everyone who even suggested she approach the conflict or her healing differently were framed as rape apologists. They've lost many longtime supporters and old friends, but all of them are framed as NPCs who get manipulated against her instead of intelligent, thoughtful adults who didn't take the decision to turn away from such a deep friendship lightly. Excuse me. Also, Poppy's targeting of people's partners is tasteless. So, this is Dormu's thing about Poppy, the one that was nuked, essentially, that Poppy blackmailed Dormu into taking down. Hang on one second. Okay, so this is the original post. I assume that this is Dormu's partner. They say, "This motherfucker saw boobs in a non..." Oh, no, this is not Dormu's partner. Excuse me. This is one of the Zoopy Poopy stands. Okay, "This motherfucker saw boobs in a non-sexual context. Admit it's not that big of a deal if it's a non-sexual context." And then writes a fucking essay about this non-event as if some sort of abuse is coming out Sorry to capitalize on the attempted cancellation of Poppy. Vulture ass motherfuckers. And again, in the context of this, Dormu, there's allegations of this quote unquote whisper network. And this is an internet term that I actually didn't know. Boomer Malcolm unlocked. The Whisper Network was a group of people that were like aware of all the weird fuck shit that Poppy and Xena were doing, and they would talk about it like behind the scenes. And so what had happened was the Whisper Network told Dormu, hey, if you're going to go and visit Poppy, just so you know, Poppy's on some fuck shit, and this is some of the weird shit that, you know, she's done. And Dormu was like, I'm just going to still go and see Poppy, like whatever. And so this whole post is in the context of like, I should have listened when people warned me. And now that there is more stuff coming out in hindsight, something that was maybe just like a weird, like kind of uncomfortable incident, in the context of this contributes to the pattern of behavior that everybody was trying to warn me about. So just for context there. So then this person says, people like that should be shamed more. And then this person says, she emerged wearing knickers, which are underwear for our non-British people. And then Poppy quote retweets this and says, Darvo in action, motherfucker, there is so much wrong here. I never said it was revenge porn, and push back on the claim on Tumblr for people being people who are unwell. You begged for cash like 3 times in DMs, more in VC. You lied about your accusation, and non-sexual nudity is fine, actually. And then this person says, you know what, on this subject, shout out to Dormu for showing up in my DMs because they, quote, didn't want me to think less of them after accusing my mom of a crime. And then when I asked for evidence of it, they said, quote, didn't think the evidence they would have would convince me. So this is Poppy's adopted child. Do not be dissuaded. Do not be bamboozled. Do not be allured by the hallucinogenic properties of the vaginal secretion. This is Poppy's adult adopted child, whom she treats better than her actual fucking child, by the way. Anyway, so, yeah. Non-sexual nudity, fine, whatever. If there is somebody that is changing in my presence, I'm going to avert my eyes. It is a respectful thing to do. It is a polite thing to do. And if somebody makes you feel weird for being like, oh, I didn't realize you were changing, let me, like... If that person comes back at you like, they're just tits, what's wrong? Don't you want to touch them? That person is a walking red flag. This is important because there is like a reoccurring pattern of behavior where I think that Poppy genuinely gets off on making other people uncomfortable. I think that is genuinely something that she enjoys, is saying like weird, like sexy, like kind of shit or whatever to make people uncomfortable. I think she genuinely enjoys that. So for context later. Okay, and then Xena says, my girlfriend just flashed me, and by flash me, I mean looked over and she was changing into PJs and she didn't announce it to the household first. So again, they're making fun of Dormu for saying like, hey, it was actually really weird that you like kept trying to shove your tits in my face. Very strange. Okay, the disrespect of Dormu's identity. So this is kind of like the Therian otherkin stuff. Feel how you would like about that. I am not the police. I'm not the thought police. I will say that it is really interesting to me whenever you have people that are like on the woker side of things and are really into idpol, like Poppy and Xena. These are people who are very like, ooh, small bean, like kind of people. You know what I mean? It's very interesting to me that they're happy to go after other people's identities, but not in the face of people like they would happily defend Dormu about like the Therian stuff or the otherkin stuff and the xenogender stuff or what have you. And Poppy herself identifies as xenogender. So she... You know, she's fine running defense for that, but as soon as it's somebody that she doesn't like, she doesn't mind, like, weaponizing their identities against them. I find that to be very interesting and very telling. That, like, before this all happened, she would have swept really hard for Dormu. But now that Dormu is not, like, a bud anymore, she's very happy to be like, oh, you fucking sick freak with your xenogender bullshit, right? Like, that's, yeah. Again, coming from Poppy, who identifies herself as xenogender and accuses me of being a true scum. Accuses me of being a true scum. Queen, words have meanings. Okay, so references in Annie's post. I don't care about Annie. Annie's a pedophile. I don't care. Well, actually, let's read these. Just kidding, I care briefly. Okay, so Dormu says, Poppy, that poor girl you refuse to stop sending horny replies to has muted you because you're on the list of people who scared the hoes for being a sex pest because you flashed me. Base, Dormu. Yes, she's scaring the hoes, you guys. Nothing scares the hoes more than being overly sexually aggressive, being insecure, and being a whiny cry bitch, okay? Is holeless behavior. Holeless behavior, okay? Women, shut the fuck up and start apologizing publicly for sexual misconduct. Challenge impossible. True. Okay, and then so this is the deal in silencing. So Dormu comes out and says, Poppy made me feel uncomfortable. Given all the context, I think it's important that I talk about this. People tried to warn me and I didn't listen. I wish that I would have listened to those people. Poppy says, at Dormu, if you want a truce with us, you get to ask for nothing. You will remove everything about us, post what you took an awkward situation and try to frame a trans woman as a predator over it, and we will block and cease all interactions with the Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad is all of the people that gang up on Poppy. That's her cute little pet name for them. And then she says, at Noi Flake, you'll admit you were one of the people that contacted Poppy's work and got her fired over lies and baseless internet speculation. Lastly, you will contact Poppy's former employer and rescind your complaint. Only then will we not do a segment your move. So blackmail in 4K. If you don't shut the fuck up, I'm going to nuke you. And again, we're falling back, you guys. These are people that don't really have a platform. These are like, you know, little fish in a big pond. So the threat of Poppy nuking these people is like, oh shit, like, you know what I mean? It's very funny in hindsight, but... By the way, this deal extends to any of you who are part of this little hate brigade. If you want out and to never be mentioned on stream, simply repent and confess your sins and then disappear. To be clear, if we do a segment, everything comes out. This is an all or nothing, Twitter, Tumblr, everything. If we find anything anywhere, even so much as a like on Noi's post, the deal is off. So we're doing blackmail. So I don't know if it mentions it in this document, but when White Forest clapped Poppy's website, they cited that the people that are participants on White Forest, that they are not to violate like state and federal laws. This is a violation of the law. This is blackmail, right? So this is what this is, illegal. Also, it has been confirmed by both Poppy and Gayfesh that in a group chat, Poppy provided a letter that she was proud of writing in the group chat without client names being censored, which is a HIPAA violation, which is also illegal. So, got a lot of stuff going on there. Okay. So, Poppy quote retweets Dormu and says, so you didn't want to get me fired, nice. So I liked a bunch you missed. Dormu says, I'm sorry, I don't have any special tools and I'm having to do it manually. I tweet a lot and like a lot of tweets, so it might take a while, although I'm staying up late to get this done. Okay, so this is a 42-year-old woman harassing a teenager terrified for its life with the justification that it reported her harassment campaign to her place of work, one of 10 separate complaints that they received. Poppy will argue that Dormu is over 18 and is an adult, mentioning that it's a teenager is manipulative and disingenuous. Meanwhile, I'll argue that one can be an illegal adult and a teenager at the same time, and the fact that she's a woman in her 40s getting off to threatening a literal teenager's life is relevant. Remember, she had the opportunity to stop her harassment campaign. She would have been allowed to keep her channel and social media presence as long as she stopped. She chose to get fired instead, blaming the people she claims are harassing her as well as her boss, who was literally doing everything he could to keep her employed while also protecting the practice he'd built from the ground up. Those complaints were filed because Poppy would not stop her harassment campaign. Her opponents have never written a call to action like Annie's, and has taken the approach of not engaging directly for months, only doing so to back up Haley when she finally had to respond. But here she is, potentially ready to potentially force a young trans immigrant who is still waiting on his green card back to a conservative family in a country hostile to trans people, and having a great time doing it. She gets off on the power and cruelty. Dormu, who is Jewish, stayed up till 8 a.m. on Shabbos while making sure that every post, retweet, like was erased from his account, and stayed up until 4 a.m. as did Fesh. Then I blocked any accounts associated with the conflict as per PNZ's demand. Okay, once she'd completely crushed and silenced her victim, Poppy responded with backhanded sort of apology herself. Dear Dormasar, I want to thank you for taking down everything about us. It means a lot. I would also like to formally apologize for making you uncomfortable when you were staying in my home. That was never my intention. While I disagree with the way that you have framed that incident, it was never my intention to cross your boundaries, so I would like to say sorry. That said, I do not appreciate the way the discomfort was brought up in text messages as a counterclaim to my rape. I can't even ever know if that was your intention, but that is relevant now. It was an inappropriate time to bring up when talking about my assault, especially, like, I don't know how we can make literally every single thing about us. It's like, it's an art form at this point. This is like a skill. She could put this on a resume. Mastered ability to make everything about me. All right. Okay, let's zoom out a bit and consider the implications of this. Poppy's parasocial media presence. Poppy says, people near or in their 30s stop dating 19-year-olds, challenge rating impossible. That's going to bite us in the ass later. I've heard of like 6 situations in this 2 weeks. Same excuses. It's so hard to cut off people you officially date. So let's start with Poppy's approach to, quote, flirting. Poppy says, I mean, I always go with nice tits, but I'm a horny lesbian on Twitter. Ladies in chat, ones, if you are very receptive to the A+ riz of nice tits, would that get you? Ladies in chat, would that get you? If somebody goes, nice tits, would you be like, wow, here's my phone number? Ones in chat if that's you. Twos, if you would block that person and run away screaming and on the phone with the police. Then we have this person saying, do these shorts make my butt look big? And Poppy says, I'm a big fan of those shorts on and off of you. No. And then this person says, I'm literally an angelic being trapped in the body of a mortal, if you even care. And then Poppy says, unprompted, I'd still ride you. Like, this isn't even a sexual post. This one, I guess you could say, like, this person is, like, kind of posting, like, a little bit of a thirst trap. But, again, we're just going, like, weird. Like, does this person even know Poppy? We're just kind of, like, thirst posting on Twitter. Ew. This is a completely non-sexual post. A completely non-sexual post. And we're like, I'd still fuck. She might as well have just commented smash. Poppy literally tweets her Twitter timeline like a game of Smash or Pass. That's so funny. Okay, Blue Sky, I need to know if it was one of you who groped me in Stoke. Tell me and honestly. I don't care if it's one of you. Okay. Oh, and then, so her Twitter name for a while was Noi Flake's abuse and assault survivor. That was her name on Twitter for a while. So this person is like, okay, Blue Sky, I need to know if it was one of you who groped me. Tell me and honestly, I don't care if it's one of you. It's fine and cute and fun. It's no different. It's not then. That's different. Normies can't touch this. So this person's like, I was groped on the train. Who did it? And Poppy was like, I'm sad it wasn't me. And then this person posts transition timeline, content warning, it's just porn. I'm sure that it's like pictures of their boobs growing on, you know, hormones. And then Poppy says, either of those would look good in my mouth. Hang on.
Come back! Guys! Come back!
Guys! Okay, so Poppy and rejection. Plot twist. Just a little spoiler ahead, you guys. She doesn't handle it well, if you haven't already kind of parsed that for yourself. So on 7/28/22, Poppy decided to, quote, flirt with Mars Faye when Faye posted about taking lewds for Faye's partner. This person says, that face when your girlfriend is asleep, so you pass the time by taking lewd selfies. Poppy says, can I see the lewd selfies? Then we have another message that says, as a fellow Faye, it seems only fair. And then this person says, no. Poppy says, seems legit with that thing. And then Faye says, I don't even know what that means. And then Poppy says, I'm accepting your no and have heard that boundary. Confused lesbian noises? Can I please see your tits? No. I accept your boundary, but have you considered I'm a lesbian? Faye says, I'm not sure what there's to be confused about, but okay. And then Poppy says, not sure why my meaning was unclear, but here we are. And then she posts a meme that says, there is no meme, have a good day. And then Faye says, confused lesbian noises? This is the thing that you said. I'm not sure why you said that or what you were confused about. And then Poppy says, I don't even know what that means. I was confused. Now I'm lost. Faye says, okay, I'm done here. LMAO blocks me after asking for lewds and then getting confused when I don't know what the fuck their comment means. Okay, go off then, I guess. And this person says, hard to watch, honestly. Excruciating read, you guys. Excruciating read. Even though Poppy is the one that blocked Mars here, she then posted about it to her followers. This resulted in Mars getting harassed for months. What? Okay, so this is this person. Poppy posts this. Or, excuse me. Faye posts this and says, be careful around this person. This person has sexually harassed me in the past, and after I called her out for it, she misgendered and blocked me after posting about it multiple times, and then people came forward and told me about similar experiences being sexually harassed by her. And then so Poppy screenshots this and posts this and says, be careful around this person. This person pretended that I sexually harassed her, or harassed Faye because Femme can't read a thread in order. After posting about it, no other people came forward and told me about their similar experiences of being sexually harassed by her. And then we have a schizo thread. Oh my God. And then she goes on to say, let's get one goddamn thing clear. I never sexually harassed this person. I asked Faye about nudes because based on the post where Faye talked about it, and then Faye said no. So Fen responded and Faye started to accuse me of nonsense. I went to go to respond, but found that I had been blocked. I chose at that moment to block Femme in response. I will admit to using the wrong pronouns due to the fact that Mars used a non-standard set of Faye pronouns. But there was never a point I misgendered Femme. As to the allegations that I have sexually harassed others, let me be clear. The only person who has come forward to my knowledge was Aaron, the wolf, who is looking at me and then got aggressively triggered because I have borderline. Rest in peace. Emily Dickinson, you would have loved this. Okay, anyway. The fact that Essence of Thought retweeted this just shows how desperate they are to find a bad faith claim and random allegations to continue their moral crusade against anyone who is not a good enough queer. The bar is down in hell. And then we post a meme. And then we're still going. Have you ever seen worse arguments? Like, please. What have you thought of Mars' opinion here? This is straw manning. It does not negate the treatment that she received. The harassment drove Mars off of Twitter shortly after this, and she never returned. Luckily, I got her side of the story. Ooh, leaked DMs. Leaked DMs. Leaked DMs, you guys. Yes. Forbidden knowledge. Okay. Hey, OMG. I haven't thought a lot about the whole Nightmare in ages, but yeah, I remember pretty well. I probably still have some of the screenshots if you want them, but there's not a whole lot. She was demanding nudes from me on Twitter, and then I said no, and she blocked her, and she made a series of tweets bitching about me and misgendering me. Nothing real extreme, no more intense harassment I get all the time from cis men. The only reason I remember this, it was how she was saying she was entitled to my news and that she kept going on about me for ages. Through the posts, the few posts I made, her several people DM me saying that they had been harassed or abused by her, but the records of those conversations were lost when I deleted my Twitter. If my memory serves correct, it was maybe 5 or 6 people who had told me that they had been abused or harassed by her, but it was so long ago I can't even remember who they were. If you want screenshots, I can dig any screenshots I might still have and send them to you on Discord. So let's look at the dates on these. So this is November 8th. When did she get swerved? Okay, so she got swerved on July 28th, 2022. And then in November, we're still posting about it. Bro, take your L and move on. Like, she didn't want to fuck. That's not... What? Okay, what's this one? Faye says, so this is the only screenshot I still have. All the rest of them were lost when I deleted my Twitter. After she said what you see in the screenshot, I said, absolutely not. And then she proceeded to act very confused and frustrated with me, so I blocked her. Then made several posts complaining about me, complaining that I had her blocked, in which she misgendered me several times. When people made me aware of these posts, I responded by basically saying, quote, asking a stranger for nudes and then misgendering and getting pissy is creepy as fuck, and left it there. She still made more posts insulting me, complaining about me, that I blocked her, complaining that I didn't send her nudes or lewds, and it got pretty vile, actually. For the most part, I ignored them, and eventually it calmed down. Several months later, she apparently started posting about me again on her new account. I don't remember what the posts were. Let me have a little screenshot here. The screenshot is, maybe you should just retweet an unhinged ravings of a J-Arbiter because a trans girl was awkward online. Gotta burn a doll down because she was bad at flirting, I guess. I think some of you guys need a class on what sexual harassment is. Like, is this not sexual harassment? Somebody's like, I'm gonna post, I'm taking sexy pictures for my partner or whatever, and then you go, can I see them? And they say no. And you say, but I'm a lesbian, what? And then you make, like, posts about them for months? Is that not sexual harassment? Okay, so I don't know how to say this. This person. I don't know how the fuck to say this. Hey, so yeah, Poppy's a bit of a mess. Thankfully, I never had any in-person interactions with her, but got creepy in the DMs. I don't have screenshots, but according to an ex-girlfriend of hers that I am friends with, she was obsessed with me. When I finally came out as poly, Poppy had a teensy bit of a meltdown because part of the reason I gave her for why I wasn't interested in dating was because I wasn't looking for any relationship at the time, let alone people who had an ongoing pre-existing relationship. In truth, I didn't want to hurt her feelings and express to her I was not at all attracted to her, physically or otherwise. Damn. I can't find how fucking weird it is to discover that a girl's obsession with me was the reason to the relationship. I felt that her advances were excessive and far too horny. Her flirting didn't make me feel seen and respected. She only seemed to think of me as a prospective sexual conquest to add to her imagined harem. Oh my god, you guys, I've been saying this. People have been saying this. Many people are saying these things. She also felt that I was being unfair to her because I have a bad enough experience with people who have unmanaged borderline personality disorder, including a workplace stalker. It was simply a trait that I couldn't entertain in any prospective partner. Even if I had been interested in dating, her lack of self-control and need for multiple partners felt to me like a way to avoid, quote, doing the work and instead actually accumulate personalities to fill that void inside of her. Okay, we have more. This person says, can you suck dick while fasting? Kind of like a meme post. Poppy says, I would like to help you find out. And this person says, gross. And then this person continues to say, gross. They called me out. I responded, red flag for you to be jumping towards a creep's defense. This person said, oh, this account is suspended. And then this person responds and says, yeah, 40-year-old I've had very little contact with. Making sexual pass at a 20-year-old is creepy. Very creepy. You defending it is also creepy. And Poppy says, it was a joke, but go off, LMAO. I don't think this was a joke at all. And then Poppy says, God, I get so tired of oversensitive queers. Girl, look in the fucking mirror. Poppy can't help but broadcast her disdain for being rejected and blaming the other person for being too sensitive. So Poppy makes like a fuck ton of tweets about this person. And they say, yeah, I was very uncomfortable with a 40-year-old soliciting me for sex when I'm not a sexual person. It was incredibly inappropriate. And this person's 20. Speaking of which, Poppy and Young Moon on Twitter. This person says, try not to at me next time, thanks. And then, wait, you're 42? I'm 25. Please leave me alone. Dude, she's scaring the hoes. Poppy, you're Rizless. And then Poppy says, people... This is the tweet that we read earlier about, like, stop fucking with 19-year-olds, but she has no problem, like, just doing that. This person says, carnal need for comfort where I'm being touched and told that I'm beautiful. And Poppy posts the I volunteer meme. This person's 23. This person posts, am I your type of girl? And Poppy says, yes, 23. This person says, Happy New Year. And Poppy says, pretty girl. This person's 21. Poppy posts this thing. The trans community overly fetishizes girl dick while playing out the same tired games around neo-vaginas. And then this person says, girl dick and girl vagina are both amazing, I've heard. And then Poppy says, want to find out? This person is 19. This person says, sometimes I think that young guys don't like me and I'm not as close with people as I think. Poppy says, be my friend, bitch. This person is 19. This person says, every older white guy looks like this to me. And then Poppy says, are you sure you're not a lesbian? And this person says, I'm very sure that I'm not. Poppy says, weird. This person says, weird. Poppy says, if every older white guy looks like that, how do you like guys? And this person says, I mean, it's a good look for a lot of guys, but, and one I like, TBH, is just hella popular. Poppy says, shrug. So we're upset that this person isn't a lesbian because that means that they are not eligible to enter the Poppycule, which is very sad for us. Very sad. Sad air horn time. Wrong air horn. Sad air horn time. Why won't you fuck me? Please join my harem. Please. Please, bro. Please fuck me. Please. Okay. This person says, oh, so I'm taking it that you guys really like this, and this has been cropped, obviously, yeah, whatever. And then, Poppy says, I mean, I like it, and I am very gay. This person says, oh god, I so would, not even a second thought, and it's, shirtless Flanders. And then Poppy says, have you ever considered, and it's lesbianism. And then this person says, not sure that's my type. And then Poppy says, you are literally killing me. And this person says, I tend to have this effect on people. And Poppy says, stop it. And it's the mommy dummy picking up like the small petite lesbian. And then she says, damn, she's tall. And then this has been deleted. Poppy says, I tried, but I'm too old and you don't like girls. This was deleted. Poppy says, what the fuck? And then this person says, no, let her cook. This post was deleted. Poppy said, I would wreck both of you like Princess Diana. And then they say, wow, I think, hi? And this person says something that's been deleted. This person says, only if you're here. And Poppy says, great, I look forward to all of us meeting. And so this person was 19 years old. This is more extensive. So this is the circle when that was a thing on Twitter. TBT to circles on Twitter. This person says, yo, I'm in there. And then there's like an insinuation that they're fucking because they're friends. National Puppy Day. For pennies a day, you can adopt a puppy. You can make sure that she gets food and water in her own cage and crate to sleep in. This person says, I think I'm going to a dog tag for my collar soon. I think I need to think on the color though. And Poppy says red. This person says, I do like red. They say, they're just like me for real. And Poppy says, I still need a puppy girl. And this person says, I got that dog in me. And Poppy says, good girl. I'm taking psychic damage. I'm taking psychic damage. And this person says, woof, woof, bark, bark. And then Poppy says, good girl again. I need to hit the vape. Oh, God. Okay. Poppy says, I will train that out of you with treats. This person says, I need this in my life. Poppy says, I keep offering. Very true. Poppy says, be honest. Did you ever jack off to me? And then this person says, yeah, I have. And Poppy says, good girl. You guys, stop sexting on Twitter. It's a public platform. Stop fucking sexting on Twitter. God damn it. Kevil's Catboys and Poppy's Puppy Girls. True. A nightmare crossover. This person says, my tummy hurt all night. Someone saved me. Poppy says, oh, I wish I could rub your tummy. If you were my puppy girl, I could. This person says, when I move and I have the time, I think I can make this a reality. And then Poppy says, just let me know when you're ready and I'll give you a nice collar, a tag, and a crate. And then this person says, hey, blank, when are you coming over? And then this person says, hopefully soon enough. Woof, woof. And then puppy girl hours with the dog ears. And Poppy says, mine. And they say, true. Help me, you guys. Help me, guys. I gotta hit the vape again. Crazy. Okay. Then there was this picture in this thread, which seemed like an innocent enough explanation of Poppy's perspective on this particular form of king until a sudden unprompted switch up in the late end. So this is a meme. It's Godzilla. Just one like, and I'll destroy Tokyo at 3 a.m. for literally no reason. Godzilla likes this, and Godzilla says, say no more. Poppy is a meme connoisseur. Like, she's got that in. Poppy says, 24/7 dom sub, master slave, etc. relationships are rarely psychologically healthy. This person says, counterpoint, they are hot. Poppy says, can be, often are not. This person says, IDK about often, but you probably have more knowledge about it. Poppy says, my interactions with the community, generally speaking, it seems to be about a ratio of 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10 seem to be relatively healthy, with a clear understanding of one play needs to end for important things. A lot of them tend to be with older men with younger women. And often starts to take on a whole... allow me to try that one more time. And it often starts to take on the whole conservatives going after the younger girls routine. I also think that there's a way in which this type of long-term vertical play kind of ruins play in and of itself. I'm not saying big scenes can't happen or that you can't have extended play, but there does need to be some point where you return to the horizontal relationship where it needs to be levels of equality. People still have bills, jobs, blah, blah, blah. Escapism and fantasy 24/7 kills that because it no longer is a fantasy or an escape. It's just your reality. And this person says, this has been a very good response. Thank you. Poppy says, TLDR, I really want to play with you. I also know you as you, not a puppy. At the time, this was this person's profile. 19 years old. But remember, this went back as far as March, right? It's my birthday and I want attention. So this is actually an 18-year-old. She's doing this with an 18-year-old. She's publicly sexting on Twitter with an 18-year-old as somebody who is 41. Okay, remember, Poppy says, I know, right? As for as much as these people lie and claim that, as Luxaner put it, I, quote, go for barely legal trans girls, end quote. I don't date out of my audience. And my partners are 30, 35, 30, 27, and 27. And the girl I'm talking to is like 38. But we just saw like 37 fucking times of you like flirting with and trying to rizz up like 18-year-olds. But okay. Poppy is 42. Fortunately, this person has seen the light since then. Please leave them alone if you know who they are. Okay, so the puppy girl blocked them. The manipulator Riz has failed. The hallucinogenic properties of the vaginal secretions, this person has grown resistant to them. Poppy says, this makes us sad, disappointed. Who believes random bullshit on Tumblr without checking the legitimacy of the other side? When will people stop believing out of context clips and screenshots and editorialized narrative? Don't worry, we will cover the kids' lies soon. The joke was she was a nice friend who was going into a similar field as Poppy. Shake my head. She's just absolutely cracked, my guy. Okay, one more. Poppy can hide her claims that she doesn't check every profile, but she's made this mistake too many times for it to just be casually dismissed. Some of these tweets are innocuous enough on their own, but it gets to the greater point. So this person says, my new hoodie. And Poppy says, oh my god, that's so fucking cute. They say, thank you, and Poppy sends a heart. This is not some pretty trans girl posting a thirst trap. This one looks like a kid in a hoodie. This person's 20. From a few days earlier, this is a repeated interaction. This person says, I'm so close to being a stripper, I swear to fucking God, if I don't get blessed with a good job soon. And Poppy says, you'll get there. 20 years old. This exchange on its own can be easily brushed off as a gray area, but let's talk about the big question. Is this a real problem? So here's the interesting thing. Some of these things are clearly sexual, while some aren't. She'll undoubtedly try to argue against the latter and make the rest seem irrelevant instead of addressing the actual point, but let's go with the good faith argument that they're not. The point being made here goes beyond the question of sexual intent. The problem is that there is a very clear pattern of trying to establish parasocial relationships with very young people online. If they're trans, she has the extra clout of being able to, quote, help get them access to things that they need to transition. She'd be their trans mom. And knowing our history on Poppy and her relationships with her family members, that does not mean that they are off of the fuck list, so to speak. Setting aside the question of whether or not it's okay to seek out these kinds of interactions, the main question whether or not she's a safe person for these kids to look up to and grow emotionally attached to even on that level. We've already seen how that worked with Dormu. They offered a shelter and in-person support with a stressful experience, dismissively violated boundaries, celebrated its harassment, and then when it tried to speak out about its experience, publicly threatened it into silence with a potential deportation. So I hope you understand if I fall into the camp of considering her an unsafe person for anybody to grow emotionally attached to. We've seen how she uses favors and gifts after the fact and try to extort control and guilt trip people in her DMs, with Haley at the very least. One of the things that I've learned about Poppy over the past year and a half of hearing other people's testimonies and doing my best to verify them is that she thrives on being an authority figure. This is consistent with her using whatever authority she has to lend credence to her attempts to control the situations and conversations, like when she tries to call Jesse Gender an abuser. Poppy thread. After seeing Keppel's recent video on the SAS and watching shit unfold here, I am fully in favor of putting my entire clinical cred behind the notion that Jesse Gender and Soul Bunny are just abusers and the weaponization of mental health language and Soul Bunny's gaslighting. That's so crazy, girl, because that's you. That's crazy, girl. That's crazy, girl. Peace and blessings, Rowan. Thank you for your diligent duty. Thank you for serving this chat. Let's give Rowan a proper goodbye. Oh, hang on. Thank you, Rowan, for your service. Okay. So Lux said it best. It is exceedingly easy to avoid accusations of you doing creepy shit if you simply do not do creepy shit. Fair. Okay. It is time to move on to Spawn. We'll read this last little blurb and then we'll move on. So Poppy will tell you that there are people who are happily thriving under her care, but I would ask you to consider everything that you've seen so far about how she handles relationships and power. And then consider whether or not any of these people might be in a position where they feel scared to speak up if Poppy ever made them feel anything other than, quote, happy and thriving. I'll quote Penny here. I don't buy it. Now let's move on to what looks like Poppy and Zeta have complete control over someone such as their adult child. Okay, so we have read the Spawn doc. We have read the Spawn doc already. This is a very short part of this, so we can just kind of go through this really quick, and then we'll move on to the ace phobia one. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Okay, PNZ claims include them being worried about their finances. Spawn emptied their own trust fund when they left. Spawn faking incompetence to get attention. What they don't share is that Spawn has POTS. Spawn is 5'1" and weighs 80 pounds. Spawn also needs to be made clear that their weight is unrelated to how they've been treated by their parents. It's just how their body is. They're just small people. Please do not focus on Spawn's weight as a reflection of abuse. It is only relevant considering that Poppy is 6'2" and Zeta is 5'8", and how it factors into any claim about how they make about power dynamics and physical confrontations. So Poppy says, to an unpopular parenting position, Poppy says, parents deserve less respect and need better to understand the immensity of their actions. You are bringing a sentient creature into the world, and it takes slapping genitals together. You don't even have to do it well. So Spawn docs. So how does Poppy feel about Spawn? Poppy says, trans women here, fuck having kids. I already did that once and it was way too much work. You're absolutely a girl and you can totally be selfish and it's cool. So POTS, okay, so POTS is like a circulatory disorder. So excessive pooling of blood below the level of the heart when upright, elevated levels of certain hormones, such as adrenaline, severe or long-lasting fatigue, brain fog, forceful heartbeats, heart palpitations, nausea and vomiting, headaches, sweating, shakiness, blah, blah, blah. So your symptoms usually get worse in warm environments, in situations with a lot of standing, and if fluid and salt intake is not adequate. So this is somebody that needs like a temperature kind of regulated environment. They shouldn't be somewhere where like it's a million fucking degrees, and they should be drinking a lot and eating a lot. In Spawn screenshots, we've seen them talk about being overworked from heat exhaustion because the AC was out, being restricted access to the bathroom even when it's to regulate their body temperature and treat their pain with a shower or a bath, being forced to do chores all day, sometimes for 7 hours straight, being deprived of food because PNZ prioritized rules of scheduling over Spawn's health, PNZ eating food and drinks and snacks that Spawn specifically got to accommodate their dietary needs. So I'm going to kind of synopsize these because these are ones that we read in the Spawn document. Okay, so we're going to synopsize this briefly. So this is the triggers or bullshit thing. Basically, Poppy says something about all bronies being pedophiles, and Spawn is like, hey, could you like not talk about that around me? Like, I don't like it. And And Poppy's like, triggers are gay, and this person's a therapist, but whatever. This is you can't eat if you miss your scheduled mealtime. Essentially, like they are saying, I was late getting on the bus, and I need to get food, but Xena told me no because my kitchen time is over. But that's bullshit. I need to be able to eat. And Poppy's like, oh, it's okay. Like I'll talk to her about it. At the time, Spawn is COVID positive. Let's be real. If you're in a 2-bedroom apartment with 2 other people and one person has COVID, you're all getting COVID. It's very Jover. Anyway, so this is evidence of them saying you literally cannot eat because you missed your scheduled mealtime. Begging for the jelly. They wanted to make a sandwich, and the jelly was moldy, and they asked if they could use Xena's jelly, and they were like, no. But then they were like, don't be in the kitchen for too long because your kitchen time is almost over or whatever the fuck. So they literally just weren't able to eat. Always wrong. This is like a big argument that happened with Spawn and Xena, with Xena like yelling at Spawn essentially. They had weekly house meetings here, and in the house meeting, Spawn would be like, dude, like I need to be able to go to the bathroom and get in the kitchen whenever I want because like I pay rent and I live here and I'm hungry. And they were like, you have unrestricted access, but then they get in trouble when they do it. And then this one is kind of a little bit more insidious. A lot of people kind of cringe with this one. But so like, Spawn's using tone indicators, and Xena gets like super fucking pissed off don't use tone indicators. But like if you have somebody who is committed to misinterpreting you like all the fucking time, it's probably helpful to just use tone indicators. So like it takes away their ability to be like, I'm not going to respond to you because you're just being like passive aggressive and a dick right now, or you're asking stupid questions, or you're playing dumb, or you're being, a fucking idiot or whatever. Like the tone indicators are helpful when somebody is intentionally trying to misrepresent you so they can like start a fight with you. Like it's just stupid. It's like there's no reason for you to be mad about this if Spawn's trying to be like clear so you don't get ass mad about like the way that they're trying to communicate with you. This is Xena essentially saying that Spawn does not own their own time, that they essentially belong to Spawn because Spawn doesn't have a job right now, even though Spawn pays rent at the apartment. This is kind of continuing out. This is Xena flipping the fuck out because Spawn dropped chocolate on the ground, and that was Spawn like trying to kill the fucking dog because Xena is too fucking lazy to bend over and pick up the chocolate herself. The tortilla bag incident was essentially somebody used the toaster oven, and the toaster oven was a little bit too close to the tortilla bag, so the tortilla bag got, burnt, and it was kind of smelly because burnt plastic, whatever. And Poppy and Xena were like, this is chemical warfare. Like, you are literally, like, poisoning us with mustard gas right now. We are in Chernobyl right now getting radiation poisoning because both Xena and Poppy were too fucking lazy to get up, take the tortilla bag that was burnt, and throw it away. Amazing. Incredible. So this is a lot of this. Xena ignores the scheduled kitchen time. So even though we have this very rigid schedule about, the kitchen time and what have you, Spawn goes to use the scheduled kitchen time, and Xena's like, no, I'm using it right now. And it's like, no, but this is my scheduled time. A lot of the criticisms, excuse me, a lot of the criticisms of this are that a lot of the Spawn receipts, quote unquote, are going to be like Discord logs of them like venting. Of course, you can see some interactions between them, the way that Xena and Poppy talk to Spawn in like the group chat messages that they send back and forth. But a big majority of this is Spawn just venting in like a Discord server. And I think that it's important. I think that the Spawn document was laid out poorly because it did not provide this kind of context. Because this exists here at the bottom of this document after we have established a very manipulative, controlling, and abusive pattern of behavior from Poppy. So by the time that I get down here, I already know that these people are pieces of shit. I already know that they are extremely controlling and manipulative with their relationship partners. It would make complete sense to me that they act like this, but worse with somebody who like is essentially under their control at all time. So I'm happy that they put this at the bottom this time. Okay, so we went through all of these. Oh, just kidding. Where are we now? So this is another thing that I think is interesting is Xena is basically complaining right now, saying that it's frustrating that that Xena is taking more of a parental role than a housemate role. Something that Xena complains all the time that they don't get enough hate. So this is my Xena hate segment, okay? Sneeko Xena crossover, let's go. Xena conveniently alternates between like Spawn is like a child that I have taken care of, that I have helped raise, that I have helped support, that I have done all the shit for, and then switching between this is just my roommate, I don't owe them shit. And those two things kind of seem at odds to me. Either like this is somebody that is so disabled and so stupid and just so dumb that you have to create this rigorous routine. You know, this is a disabled child that you have to care for full time, or this is just a really shitty roommate. She kind of switches conveniently between these two things depending on whatever criticism is given. And I find that to be very ironic. Very ironic and very telling that we're happy to kind of like code switch whenever we're trying to target a specific audience or address a specific criticism. Yeah. So Melina is talking to Spawn here. Melina says, wait, Xena straight up admits to feeling like a parent instead of a housemate. They talked about being your parent. Yeah. This was the end of last year. They regularly said they didn't want to be my parent. They literally control my entire life like one. So Melina says, this is kind of blowing my mind. And then this is a Xena tweet where Xena is basically just like, fuck this kid. This is like the whole tweet. Xena's like, fuck this kid. And then we have like this crazy like list of shit that they have to do. It's very weird. Here's an interesting comparison of how all of this. And to be clear, if we do a segment, everything comes out. This is an all or nothing thing. No mistakes are tolerated. Poppy and Xena will argue that it's normal and healthy relationship, insisting that they don't have the context of how they would make up afterwards. First of all, I'm not sure I want those details. Second of all, I literally don't understand that many relationships handle their conflict with this kind of screaming. It's also very revealing when you consider how they justify the treatment of their partners, friends, and even community members. They think it's a normal way to treat people and that everyone is being too sensitive. In reality, they're justifying their abusive behavior because they don't even recognize that it's abusive. Meanwhile, the people that they suddenly unleashed this behavior upon can be severely affected by it, especially considering they frame their communities as a safe place for abuse survivors. You know, like... literally exactly the kind of people who would recognize and be triggered by this kind of treatment. And I can tell you firsthand how traumatizing this kind of thing was coming from someone you've spent months getting close to and perceived as a safe person. Yeah. So apparently Noi also says something about this. Apparently Poppy and Xena would get into like screaming matches all the fucking time. That's not normal. You guys shouldn't be like screaming and fighting, like going balls to the wall like every other day. That's actually extremely atypical and unhealthy in a relationship. I don't think that I have ever, like, screamed at my wife. I don't think that I have ever screamed at her once. I think that I've gotten animated and I've gotten mad sometimes when we would fight, but I don't think that I've ever, like, screamed at her. And I think that we've had, like, in our entire relationship, I want to say maybe we've had, like, 3 fights like that. This is not normal. This should not be happening, like, weekly. Not even, like, monthly. You guys shouldn't be fighting like that. It's very obvious that you guys aren't, like, supposed to be together. And then we have this, Xena and Poppy would regularly take away the internet from Spawn if Spawn wouldn't do chores to their standards. Meanwhile, at the same time, bitching and moaning and crying and shitting and pissing and coming about how Spawn didn't have a job. How the fuck are you supposed to get a job if you don't have access to the internet? So, internet restriction, blah, 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 blah. We went through all this in the last one. So, this last one messes me up. Yeah, we read all these. Okay, so one last notice about Spawn. You may notice Spawn's blog is gone now. A few days ago, Poppy and Xena did a stream directly addressing Spawn. In that stream, Poppy threatened to come after them with legal action. Why she chose to do this publicly, I don't know. Spawn accepted their friend request on Discord, but she didn't reach out there. And while I would love to see what the defense attorneys would do with the evidence provided, same Melina, I would, dude, I would take like a week off of work for this. Are you kidding me? I would quit my job to do this coverage. This would be fucking insane bananas. Come on, bro. Spawn decided it wasn't worth a smoke and shut down their blog. Instead, all relevant posts have already been reposted here. And the important part is that Spawn is okay and safe. And since Poppy posted our chats earlier today, here's this. Melina says, I wanted to do everything you've been doing. I'm not just as fucking stupid and ID driven as you. You don't. You just blackmailed your kid on stream. And Poppy says, and I would do it again. All right, you guys. We made it. We made it. We made it. Parting thoughts. A note to Poppy. You know that my bio mom abandoned me. You know that my stepmother abused me in ways very similar to Xena's behavior for over 15 years. You know what my bio mom said to me when I met her again that caused me to never speak to her again. I told you I would never pick you over Spawn. I make more than double what you did even when you were working. This is not a brag, this is a warning. I will support any legal action taken against you by the people I've been protecting, whether it's with testimony, evidence, or money. Try something like this and you'll understand just how nice I've been. Just how nice I'm still being. I love you, but if you come after your kid, I will make sure that that particular path of self-immolation will lead to your destruction. This is the last warning I will give. You now have an inkling of what I'm capable of when pushed. Back the fuck off. You have no idea what you're actually getting into. Melina! Melina, let's go! Oh my god! Melina, yes! Oh my fucking god, bro! That, oh my god, she ate and left no crumbs. Oh my god, Melina, let's fucking go. I love that. Let's go, bro. Holy shit. Let's go. Melina concludes, to everyone else, thank you for reading through this. You are so welcome, my queen. I would go into battle for you. Please boost this if you can. The important part of this is helping people who haven't seen P and Z for what they are. And remember, try to be kind to those who are still in there. Once they get out, they'll need a place to land. If they are looking for someone to talk to, you can point them my way. Or if they don't trust me, understandable, point them to Noi Flake or to Gay Fesh. Oh my god. Dude. That's a nuke. That is a nuke, dude.